I had a list of things that I'd like to go through here. So first, this is Myth Brigade, and the first actual live session of the Tides of Nurgle campaign. Are you guys excited for this shit or what?
Very.
All right, we got a very.
Die of the first session.
So again, we are the Myth Brigade. This is Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition. And if you check out our YouTube channel, you're going to see a series of videos that introduce the campaign. There's a backstory. There's sort of character bios. So I'm going to go around the horn really quickly and just get everyone's status, make sure they're okay. We know how James is doing. Eric is doing, rather. So let's start with Rivers. How are you doing, man?
Well, I'm all right. You know, had a long day. Oh, you talking about for me as a character or me as a me?
Let's start with you. I know how your character's doing. I'm about to tell you how your character's doing.
Well, I mean, really, I can't complain. Just long days of work, and you know, that's about it. Really.
Memorial Day is coming. It is time to memorialize and also sleep late. So.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. That's gonna happen very soon, hopefully.
Rock on. Cool. So who are you playing today? Just a super fast. Who the hell are you?
Well, I'm playing Oswald of Ubersreik, and Ubersreik is a small border town, but it is nonetheless a major place of commerce in the lands of the Reikwald, and it is he is not a noble in blood, but he is on the edge of nobility, being a well-to-do merchant's son, and the third-born son of such merchant. He has 5 siblings, siblings for pretty much each branch of the government. You have like a member of the faith, someone in the knightdom. His father's a merchant. He's taken after his father in most respects, picking up on his natural guile and ability to sell and craft deals and such, but his father saw fit to send him to the School of Engineering, or the University.
Now you will be an engineer, he said.
Yeah.
Yes.
An engineer of the Empire, and he took a very fine fondness to the architecture and inner workings of the gunpowder divisions by his dwarven teachers, and so he's taken a very expensive book from the college and has gone about adventuring and learning his own way. He was very much kind of removed from the whole I hate learning in a classroom, I want to learn by my own hand.
Nice.
And my own experience.
And out he goes, and now he's under the employ of Unter Wagoner, we'll talk about him in a second. Grimwald, what's going on, man? James, how are you?
Doing good. I'm going to have Grimwald Brom. He's a handsome young man, 17 years old, a newbie, and he's in the employ of our disgusting caravan master.
He's a ladies' man. Well, he got himself in trouble. He's so handsome, he got himself in trouble, right?
Yeah, his previous employer's wife, was it?
Yes, it was. She loved it, you know.
And the sound of the toenails being clipped in the video, that was pretty... That made me only watch it once. That was it.
I'm just saying, he can't reach them, so he needed his servant to do it. Okay, so that seemed like one of those. Look, he was nice about it, though. I mean, he's a likable albatross.
That makes it all better.
I think Eric's doing some other stuff, so I'm gonna skip over Corben. I'm gonna stop over at John with the beautiful green screen wall. How you doing, man?
Hey. Good guess. So I'm playing Geschwind Osage, messenger, kind of old for a messenger, but maybe hopefully a little wiser, more careful and attentive to his surroundings. He grew up kind of a smaller guy, 5'6" for a human. So although I feel pretty good in this party,
he's a little taller than at least one of the
maybe
members,
even
right?
above average. Yeah, feel a little better. Not a fan of Gunter, but have been asked back to help deliver a message. So,
well, I mean,
that seems precarious already.
It does. He pays well, and you have a secret that you carry. And just to be clear, so I know you guys saw the video. Geschwind carries a package, and that was a conversation just between he and Unta. So you were unaware of any sort of secret package, at least as of yet. Perfect. Jim Powers, how are you, man? You're on vacation. You're muted.
Muted.
He's just very quiet.
All right. Now I have a voice. I'm doing pretty well. I'm just taking a week off from work for burnout. We have our major release coming up in 2 weeks. It got pushed back again. So now everybody's like in their post-launch vacation windows, and that's compounding with everything else. So it's fun. It's work stuff. It's boring. In terms of Bartleby is still, the old man in the group. Keeps pretty much to himself, is a little tight-lipped, doesn't really share many details about who he is or where he's from. He is a stevedore, which is more or less a longshoreman, and he's been swept up into this quest at the request of the Wagoner.
I mean, when the Wagoner's business, right, when it started to decline there by the river, I mean, the writing was on the wall, but we got to figure out exactly why, though. Why did Unter bring you all the way to Osberg and put you to work? Some ulterior motives and future things to take a look at. And Corben looks like a laser printer. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut to the chase. So Eric is doing reasonably well. He's alive. His blood pressure is probably a little higher than it should be at the moment. And he's been having technical challenges, traffic challenges, probably work challenges. And at this point, he's probably just shitting his pants. So he'll be joining us in a second. He's playing Corben. There he is. Hey, he's playing Corben Mossbrewer, who is
I'm just puttering around a little bit. I would be better if my hour-and-a-half drive home from work actually took an hour and a half, but it took 3. So, yeah, it was not really a good start to my evening.
Well,
but I'm doing okay now.
He's like,
and yes, I am going to be portraying Corben Mossbrewer, one of the wee folk. He is along on this caravan because he has been hired by our rather rotund employer to make a portrait of him, or rather 4 portraits. 3 are done.
If you could paint,
unfortunately, the last is supposed to capture him in some kind of heroic glory, which simply cannot be imagined at this point. It was rather difficult to get our employer to appreciate the effort that Corben was putting into these portraits, until our employer realized that Corben is also an excellent cook. Having sampled some of Corben's tastier work,
like the Moodish tube
one
cake.
hopes he's not. Yes, one hopes he's not eating the paintings after all. But after tasting some of his cooking, his demeanor sort of flipped around, and he became quite a bit more appreciative. That let Corben get those first 3 portraits done, but we're struggling on the 4th. So there's hope that this caravan ride will provide an opportunity for some kind of heroics to be captured.
Awesome. So I think we're all here. No, he's still kind of puttering. All right. Well, some housekeeping items.
I'm here in spirit. I'll be here physically in just a moment.
Awesome. I picture he's just hovering above the camera. So we're just sort of. No, well, anyway, so we are new to Warhammer Fantasy. A lot of us are D&D players. Rivers is an old probe going back to probably 2nd edition.
I played 2nd edition. I played 3rd for maybe like 2 sessions, and then I was like, this is kind of like bullcrap. The card thing was it was not okay in any way, shape, or form. Not a good addition.
For sure. All right, so we've got some Call of Cthulhu players. We've got some Warhammer sort of 40K role play of various, whether it was what was it? Rogue Trader or Dark Heresy. But we've never really played this as a group. So there may be some page turning. There may be some confusion. We'll watch the chat, because I'm guessing some folks actually know the rules better than we do. And Rivers will be our default, right? If we forget, he'll tell us.
Hey, don't put anything on me. The book is more of a better credible source, because I've not played too much of 4th edition, but I've played probably about like 3 campaigns.
Here's the
so I know
thing, dude. If you make this shit up, we won't know. You can make the craziest.
I'm gonna try not to do that because I like going off of what the book says. So
yeah, awesome. But yeah, so check out the YouTube. I think the link is now in chat. You can see there's a couple videos there. One introducing the characters and one kind of giving a reasonably quick backstory as to why these folks are here. But with that, man, I think we may actually be ready to play. Eric, are you ready to play some Warhammer Fantasy 4th Edition?
I am ready.
I was waiting for him to not answer. Just face palm and be like, fuck it. Let's just go back to talking about sports. What does that sound? Eric just died.
It sounds like rummaging.
I think he fell down.
I'm still here.
Oh.
All right. So
I know it's challenging to imagine me being here without my face on the screen, but I am here.
Really?
And my face will be with you shortly.
It might be more comfortable if you put like a. Could you put like
this is
maybe
religion
each
start.
session you put a different cardboard cutout there of some like celebrity or Matt Mercer or some shit like that, so we could get some street cred.
Yeah.
Can we use the laser printer as his Roll20 picture?
That's a really good idea. Okay. All right. So let's bring it down. So you're in the Reikwald, as you all know. I'm guessing that you've done a little bit of reading there. This is my version of the old world because I don't have time to read up on the real one. Since leaving Bogenhaven, your journey has been nothing short of miserable, with your only encounters along the road being the occasional unlucky merchant or traveler. The most fearsome hazards have been the unrelenting cold, sleet, and snow. That was until about 3 nights ago, when Egbert the scout burst into your campsite, announcing the presence of a greenskin war party. Small, but nonetheless terrifying. Your journey east would carry you into their midst. A retreat to the west would be too slow, and they would likely overrun you. Bold as your hearts may be, you're no match for such a foe, and your flesh would keep their bellies full for the long winter. In an act of desperation, the caravan turned north, following an ancient road deeper into the Reikwald forest. The winding track through the tall pines is thick with roots, rocky and uneven, making passage by wagon an agonizing task at best. The one saving grace is that the thick trees have helped to cut the bite of the wind, a kindness that almost makes the dark embrace of the forest welcome. It's the eve of 14 Kaldazite, which is basically October, and you find yourselves huddled in a tiny camp alongside of the caravan. You can hear the sound of the horses, mostly oxen actually, and the crackle of a very small but nonetheless welcome fire. What are you doing at this campsite?
Probably still working. Cleaning, cooking, cutting firewood.
So, yes, Grimwald is off kind of wandering around, skulking between the wagons, sort of, doing his various chores and tending to the master's waste bucket before he turns in for the night. Corben, what are you doing?
Well, if it's dinner time, then I'm wrestling up some dinner and having some beer.
So half drunk already. Let's have our first roll of the session, and wouldn't it be awesome if that roll were a consume alcohol roll? Let's see how well Corben consumes alcohol. This is an easy task, so give yourself that fantastic plus 20 bonus.
Okay, you got to give me a second to figure out. Okay, it's been a while since I've done some Roll20 stuff.
That's fine. You can smell the enticing scent of onions and garlic, all wild picked, of course, by our halfling friend as he stirs a pot. Where did my Roll20 go? Oh, nice. So, something about the cold. You've been drinking a lot lately, and you're starting to actually feel it a little more than usual.
That's what you're supposed to do when it's cold.
You're absolutely right. So, just for those watching who aren't familiar with the system, so you'll see in the... Actually, I don't have the dice window up, do I? I should. Let me transition real quick to the other screen so we can see that. Ooh, fancy noise. Okay, so you've got your map here, right? Down at the bottom is a roll result that you have rolled over your target of 41, resulting in a failure with a success level of -2, which means if I were doing a dramatic test, you would have failed moderately. So you're cooking, and you're convinced you're doing a fantastic job, but you're feeling a little tipsy. So keep that in mind as you're talking to your friends here.
Beer is not only good for warming you up, but it makes a great ingredient. So I'll add a little to the food.
Fair enough. You add some beer. What are you cooking? You can't be cooking tube cake because you don't have an oven. So what are you making for the bunch?
I think some rabbit stew would probably be good when we're out and about.
The trouble is, and this is where your failure comes in, you don't have the rabbit. You got far enough into the stew without it, so you're going to have to use the ferret.
That'll work.
Excellent. So you're mid-ferret cooking. Help. Yes, good. Oh shit! I have Jim mapped to the wrong. I'm gonna. Okay, so let's confuse the internet, and I'm gonna kill you because you messed up my mapping here. I'm gonna move back to this other view.
Damn it! It'll last longer than this.
The first episode without technical issues would not be the first episode. So here we are. So, Geschwind, what are you up to, man?
I would probably be sitting there, kind of quiet, just kind of observing, having a drink, but measured, very careful drink. I see the halfling kind of going in. I see the ferret coming out, and that's probably a little concerning to me. I'm going to sit there, contemplate, and kind of watch the camp, careful of my delivery, obviously, unbeknownst to everyone else.
For sure. And
regret coming on this trip from the sounds of it.
You absolutely do. Your hands are cold, your feet are cold. Now, having traveled to Reikwald, this may be old hat for you because you've been at this a while, but it's still somewhat unpleasant. Bartleby, what are you doing, man?
Bartleby's just sitting by the fire, whittling away at a stick, waiting for some dinner.
Nice. So you're kind of sitting there observing this whole thing and watching Geschwind. Seems a little bit pensive about something. You may not be a little curious as to what's going on. He's a little maybe less comfortable with, and I'm talking like this because I'm moving your heads around on the other screen. And you've had an awful lot of rabbit stew, and whatever it is that Corben's cooking up, man, you're not so sure. It just doesn't have that familiar smell.
Oh man.
Listen, ferret may be delicious. If anybody in chat
it
wants
is
to,
when I cook it.
That's exactly right. Except when you fail and put too much salt in it. I'm so sorry. Okay, that's better.
It'll keep better.
Yes. Let me go back to this view here. Make sure I'm in the right spot. Okay, everybody. John, can you tell me? Is everybody in their right boxes?
That looks good.
So much better. Yes, awesome. So you are in your various positions doing your various things. Oswald, what are you up to? Studying your giant book of engineering witchcraft.
So Oswald is probably a little bit more taken aback by the news that there's a raiding party so close to where he would call home. And he currently is, I want to say that he's doing maintenance on a wagon's, like a wagon train's actual like axle system.
Right on.
And so he's got like a big barrel of like what would be like the alcohol for the camp, hoisting up the axle just a little bit higher than what the wheel actually is, so he can like lift it off and start fixing it.
Okay.
He's applying various amounts of grease, like tar, just the wagon train's actual belongings, and he starts to think about what, and he's just messing with this wheel. The wheel is particularly heavy in particular. Usually it takes 2 or 3 men, but he's like hoisted it off, rolled it back up, and he's getting ready to reapply the wheel as it had either fallen off whilst in travel or needed some adjustment.
Perfect. So yeah, you've got this just absolute rooty soil, and where there's not roots, there's rocks. It's a road that's like that, all washed out and gross. And Bartleby, of course, not being far away, the smell of this disgusting tar grease mixed with the smell of half-burnt, overly salted ferret is really starting to get to you, man. In the distance, literally out of the blue, above, there's a kind of murmur that goes on around the caravan, because obviously you're not the only party members there. You hear this scream, clearly just pain-ridden, outside of the camp in the darkness. It startles you from your various actions, and you're near enough to react to one another. What do you do?
Is this for all of us, or is it just Bartleby?
Absolutely. Every one of you hears this, probably a slightly different take on the level of agony that you pick up in it, but absolutely. It is the sound, a familiar sound, a male voice, kind of younger, screaming in absolute pain.
So what Oswald does almost immediately is that he's got his hands on this big wheel, and he turns his head and loses his grip a little bit on the wheel as he was trying to shift it. He thinks about it for a moment, and he lets it fall down.
The wagon kind of rocks a bit, right?
He lets it fall down flat, and he looks over his shoulder towards maybe past the campfire that has all the stuff on it, and he looks towards the others, not saying anything, but he begins to move a little bit faster, maybe putting his hand on his small blade on his waist.
Okay, so you do that. You can see a sort of a scurrying happening. The various other attendees here in the caravan starting to react to the similar noise. Your hand is extremely greasy. I'll remind you of that. That might be interesting here in a second. Bartleby, what do? You're nearby. You see your comrade in arms there reach for his weapon and kind of looking about the camp.
Bartleby will kind of sigh dejectedly and grab his weapon and go to do it.
Nice. So he just kind of
sort of just at the figures look on his face.
Awesome. Geschwind, what do you do?
I dart up pretty quickly. I'm careful not to spill my drink. Set it down. Check my pouch, and am standing alert with my hand ready at my dagger.
Okay, got it. Corben, you are in the midst of stirring, and you've tasted, and man, you're thinking you did something wrong, but they won't know. I mean, they're heathens after all, right? What do?
I brandish my spoon in the general direction of the scream just in case something comes out, probably flinging stew all over everybody nearby, and look for an opportune place to make myself scarce.
Fair enough. So you do spin, and you actually fling the gravy from your ferret delight all over one of your companions. And hang on 2 seconds. There it is. The man's name is Desmond, and he turns and says, Peck, what are you doing? What was that noise? He shouts. What do you do, Grimwald?
I head over towards the noise and see if I can see what caused it.
You go out into the
dark.
It.
Is it in the camp or in the woods?
It is in the woods. It is absolutely off in the dark.
I'm just looking that way.
Just look over that way. Desmond says, Where did Egbert go? Oh, you seen him? He went off to have a piss. Ah, fuck. Who's coming with me? You're right there, Grimwald. He's staring around.
So Oswald, he'll be where he is. He sees that the wheel's still covered in a little bit of tar, so he will reach down and grab a broken spoke from the wheel and rub it with the tar a little bit, and get it on the tip of it. And he will nod to the gentleman. He hasn't spoken as of yet, but he'll nod to the gentleman that is who's coming with me, and he takes this basically stick covered in a little bit of a tar with him,
the punji stick,
as he moves forward towards into the direction.
Okay. Do the rest of you generally, so as you're kind of in the circular gathering of sort of half circle of wagons, you start moving into the woods. All of you, I'm assuming, are going, except for Corben, who is trying to find some place to hide. He's like, no, fuck that. I'm going to hide under a wagon. Okay.
I'm a painter and a cook.
So I do have one question, though.
Yes.
Is the concoction sitting over the fire, is it still like boiling hot?
It's simmering. It's at a nice gravy thickening simmer at this point. Actually, you glance down. No, it's not boiling hot, and it's a sizable pot.
Okay, all right.
Got to feed about
Oswald
22
is
people.
going to casually, as he walks by, put the broken spoke edge that's covered in the tar into the fire as he walks by and light it.
Okay. You do.
You're gonna put it in the soup for a second.
Yeah, so did I. It'll make it better. I swear. It'll take the graviness out of the ferret.
Is the pot actually like red?
How long are you cooking this thing? I'll let Corben tell us. Is it a long kind of cook and at low temperature? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Did you use like discount
hours.
like super salted ferret or like shoe leather that you actually bought?
No,
I have no idea where the ferret came from. It came out of that box over there.
It's the fancy low-fat ferret, long pig, or what was that?
Yes.
Chat called it long something.
Well,
long
actually, when he lights this impromptu torch, he's going to take the. I assume it's in a big cauldron. He's going to grab the cauldron, and with it still red hot, he's going to walk forward with it in his opposite hand.
Okay, that is gonna you grab the handle and you do find it's a little hot. It's not red hot, but it's hot enough that you're not loving carrying it.
All I'm looking for is like the bottom of it to be like a nice golden red. The bottom of the cauldron to be
I'll give
very
you that,
nice.
Man. You have a pot of a sort of cast iron pot. It's kind of heavy, and you're thinking, man, could I ever brain someone with this?
Where are you going with dinner?
Yeah, this gets the halfling's attention. Do you follow into the woods, scolding him, Corben, or do you stay hidden?
No.
Okay.
No, bring it back.
Oh no, Oswald's making a beeline towards the woods.
Okay,
as
so
fast
you
as he
don't even
can.
respond. So you hear again from the woods after these kind of few seconds has passed another pain-filled "Ah!" followed by help. You vaguely recognize the voice as Egbert, one of the servants. Grimwald, you would have cut the left foot toenails, and he would have gotten the right one. You guys know each other reasonably well. He's clearly
cooperative.
Is this the direction in the woods kind of from where we've come or where we're going?
No, it is further north. So you came sort of from the south, and so it is further north, deeper into the woods, if you will. Which, by the way, to the sort of east and north are the Hager Cribs, which is this really, or Hager Cribs, however it's pronounced, this generally like this sort of impenetrable hills that are rumored to be infested with ghosts and wights and all these things because they're ancient barrows. Not saying that's what's going on, but they're that way. So
I'm definitely not walking the opposite way because I know that's towards the potential war party, but I'm definitely approaching the screams more cautiously at the back, ready for something, but not enthusiastically as some others.
So the war party would be to the south, but who knows out here. So you're kind of moving forward. I'm going to go in initiative order here, and actually looking at my whiteboard. So Grimwald, you are actually the quickest of the bunch, followed by Oswald. Actually, it's kind of a tie. So you guys can agree. Who wants this?
I'll lead it.
All right, so you lead it. You come upon your friend Egbert. He is coiled up in just a ball of absolute agony, clutching at his leg. As you look down, although it is a little bit dark at this point, right? It's very difficult to see. There's some sort of mass almost attached to his leg. And he's rocking back and forth and just, oh God, Grim, help me. It hurts so bad. It's a fucking trap. It's a trap, he says. The rest of you kind of arrive at about this moment.
Going for a look, see, like, is it around his leg and
yes,
a bear trap or something?
It is a massive bear trap, and he has peeled much of the meat away from the bone on his left leg with this bear trap, rusty and old as it may have been. I was just trying to have a piece, he says, rocking back and forth. It's not funny. What are you laughing at? I'm not kidding.
Yeah, Oswald quickly looks at the situation and then looks at his scalding hot, red hot pot bottom, and he is going to quietly snuff it out real quick, and I am going to attempt to knock this guy over the head and knock him out.
Oh, just to keep for the pain, huh? Okay. I was like, well, that's not very nice. All right. Well, I'm going to let you go ahead and so you're going to dump. I'm going to assume you're going to dump the pot, or you're just going to drop it on his head and go polong.
Oh no, I'm not hitting with the pot. I'm gonna turn out the torch.
I misunderstood.
I have a big wheel spoke in my hand, or Oswald does.
Okay.
And he says, "This will hurt." And
nice. It just boom. Give
just
me go ahead and give me an attack roll.
Alrighty. That's gonna be weapon skill, and it's gonna be impromptu, I believe, or it might be bludgeon. Let me look. Let's see. Oh no, it's weapon skill basic. So I'm gonna have. So if he is helpless, does that apply? And he's also prone, I assume.
Yeah, he is. And hitting him is not the question. I just want to know how accurate you are at knocking him out, or if you cause any other injury to the poor.
Okay, so I'm not gonna bother with a modifier, but it would be something ridiculous.
Well, so. You actually, in the dark, with him kind of rocking back and forth, you try to, this will hurt, and you bash him right in the side of the head and kind of get him in the eye at the same time. And he's,
what are you doing?
Oh, just, what, oh, it hurts so bad. He's holding his eye. I feel weak, he says.
Well, actually, you know what? I'll spend one of my fate here to re-roll this.
So, quick introduction to that. So you have the concept of fate and resilience. So fate and fortune, and then resilience and resolve. They're on your character sheet. So you can actually spend fortune and fate. Spending fortune, you get back more easily, right? It's kind of like, luck, Lady Luck smiles upon me. So you can use it to re-roll a test. You can use it to add +1 success level. So if you're at, say, -1, you can add success level. Or really, if you wanted to bump it up a little more and have a more successful result. So anyway, the idea there is you can spend the fortune, and when you run out, you're out. As you work toward your goal as a character, you get fortune back as a part of your reward. Fate's a little different. That keeps you out of really serious situations like death.
Really serious stuff. I meant to say fortune.
The dragon is breathing right into your mouth, and you spend. There's some cool rules around that. And then resilience and resolve is similar in that you can spend small bits of resolve in order to sort of overcome adversity and corruption and things like that. And then spending resilience really is the big deal. Like you're about to die and you need a way out. So that's awesome. So you spend yourself a fortune point.
Fortune.
You're going to re-roll.
I'm going to attempt to re-roll and smack him as hard as I can with a mighty swing across his temple or some sort of region that I would think that might knock him silly.
I'm going to give you, so for the, hang on, what I was just about to say before you roll. So you still wouldn't have got it +20. You wouldn't have got it. So,
I'm so sad because I really just want to knock him out.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. It's dark.
You hit him in the side of the head. Stop hitting me! He's screaming, and Grimwald, you're there. He's bleeding everywhere.
I'd shove Oswald and tell him to stop hitting him.
Okay, you push Oswald.
Help me get the trap off his leg.
So
you will struggle.
Bartleby, what are you doing? Are you just kind of just looking there like, what in the actual fuck?
Bartleby has just finished reaching into his pouch to pull out a flask of spirits to give this guy to ease his pain.
Nice. So
very thoughtful.
And he very quietly just slides it back in and face palms a little bit. And then he will go over and help to open the trap.
So
and I quickly run over and take my sheath of the dagger and just jam it into his mouth.
Okay. So you kind of, Bartleby and Grimwald kind of close in on this guy's upper half, passing the spirits, which he guzzles, and he reaches out and kind of squeezes Oswald's arm, like, I know you weren't trying to actually brain me, sort of thing, and then bites down like crazy on the sheath as you try to get this thing off. So how are you going to approach that? It's dark. You've got the slight flicker from the kind of the torch still, just a little bit burning on the ground, but not enough to light up the area. What are you going to do? It is deep to the bone. I mean, just absolutely clinched on the bone. That would be Grimwald and Oswald, the Walds.
Two people to pry it open, and then the third to get his leg out. And then
Well,
1, 2,
actually,
go.
can I attempt a engineering or a trade engineering role here to see if I can like use the spoke as a lever or look at the mechanism that's actually activating it? Or
Yeah, give me an engineering check. I think in the dark, I'm going to say we'll keep it at routine.
let's see. So it's going to be engineering, trade engineering.
While you're doing that, I'm kind of making the suggestion of
Oh God, no! God, no! Like
close this tighter.
Yeah. So well,
So what's your suggestion?
well, Oswald is trying to figure out a means to lever open the trap. Bartleby has seen people crushed before as a stevedore. It's not uncommon for things to shift in the hull of a ship.
Yeah.
And he's just going to look for something on Desmond's clothing that he can use to tie a tourniquet around his leg.
Absolutely. So easy enough. You you can just kind of tear his shirt off if you wanted to. You could use his belt. He's got a belt. So you kind of course, he's got some accoutrement and whatnot on. So you might want to just grab it and snatch it like a tablecloth. You probably want to. You're kind of looking him over.
Yeah. He'll bleed out quick. We don't stop the bleeding first.
Oh, yeah, right. He starts to kind of take his belt off, and his pants, which are badly made anyway, almost kind of drop to the ground. He's sorry. He's freeballing today. But he hands you the belt with shaking hands, clearly kind of nervous. Geschwind, you were going to say what?
You might not want to hear it, lad, but your leg is done for. It's best to
Just get it off.
cut it and save it.
Just get it. No. What? He stops and stares you deep in the eye with these puppy dog eyes like, what the fuck? One of you's hitting me with a stick. I got a bear trap on my foot, and now you're going to try to cut my leg off right now before I'm even drunk?
We will only, it's to your bone. We would only need to apply a little more pressure and it would gnaw it off.
His head shaking back and forth with every word as he just the denial sets in. Not out here. Not so far
Oswald,
from home.
while this is going on, he's just looking longingly at this club, and then he just does it again, but with a little bit more, with a little bit more gumption, a little bit more like, oh God, like.
I'm gonna give you just, this is easy. Give yourself that plus 30, man. Super easy, because he's been drinking. He's now in shock. He's got one eyeball that's probably damaged.
There we go.
There we go.
Finally.
And finally, he's shaking his head, starting to panic and buck against you guys, holding him down, and you whack, and he passes out. The blood's still
Oswald
pouring.
just looks at everybody and just shrugs, and then he'll go to start trying to help pry this bear trap open.
Does anybody have first aid type skills?
I don't remember.
What did you say?
First aid-ish skill. So I'm going to go. So Oswald, you were otherwise occupied bashing him in the head for the third time. Bartleby, do you have any sort of healing skill? I will let you stop the bleeding with an intelligence roll to find out. Let's just see if you put the tourniquet in the right spot. If you don't,
yeah, I
first aid, you can
don't see it on the sheet. If there's a medicine skill.
I think it's
probably advanced.
Yeah, it's an
I
advanced
think
skill.
it's covered by advanced, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can see how much the leg is worth, but that's it.
Awesome.
All right, so do you want me to just make an intelligence check?
Yeah, that's fine. Just to place that tourniquet. Let's see if you, you're wise, learned stevedore.
Okay. Any modifier?
Let's leave it flat.
Okay.
So you get it in a spot, not knowing anatomy very well, but you get it now without him kind of panicking and thrashing around. You're able to tighten it down, and you think you got it tight enough to stop the bleeding, but who knows? WebMD says no, says the chat. Uh-oh. That's awesome. Okay. So so you've got the tourniquet placed, and you've tightened it as best you can, and what do you do now with your unfortunate friend? So Oswald, you've looked over the trap, and the failure is represented in that you get the mechanism. It's just so old and damaged and very well used. There's not a whole lot of.
I ask if it's still secured, or can we carry him and the trap along with him to the camp at least? So at least we're working in light.
No one seems to know. Do you check to see if there's a chain?
Go
ahead.
Yeah, I'm kind of at his head, but yeah, I'll kind of he's knocked out now, so I'm gonna just lay him down and take my sheath back. And
so
check for the chain.
Oswald will look towards everyone, and on him he has like an engineer set of tools. So I'm gonna take out a basically some sort of like smallish saw, or like maybe a hammer and a chisel, some small hammer and chisel, and he just like looks towards his leg with some intent, and he says, "We know what we must do."
From behind you, so first you this slight kind of crowd gathering of the various people from the caravan. You hear this,
"Now, Oswald, wait, bring him over here. He's fine. Tell him to get up and let's get going."
This giant shadow, as you look back over your shoulder, the bit of moonlight that can come in from the road area where the trees are more sparse, you see this mass of flesh of Unter Wagoner as he's standing there with all of his rings and his silk clothes.
Don't just cut his leg off. Come on. What even happened to him? Did he fall down again?
He says.
Why the
Is
fuck
the trap anchored to the ground?
You go, and yes, in fact it is. There is a stake, but you could very likely just kind of pull it up at this point.
I'll try and get it out.
Okay. Give me the strength roll routine. Show those muscles that everybody's talking about.
What's a routine?
Flat.
Okay.
The dice are not being kind to you guys. All right, there's a success.
There you go.
We'll take it.
Hey.
That's awesome. So I just had to celebrate that one. So you reach down and give it a pull. It was kind of lodged on a root, but you pull and it comes out of the ground, no problem. So you've got this kind of length of chain that you can use for fun things later. But so you have freed him up. What do you do with him?
Get under one shoulder, get someone to help me on the other side, and get him back to camp.
Yeah, I think Oswald will grab onto or like secure his leg enough to where it doesn't jostle around and actually rip his leg off. That way, he will also try to. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. As you're starting to kind of secure his leg to the best of your abilities, you're going to have to hold it because you don't really have a splint nor time to make it. The meat is just completely flopping around. You can see the bone. It's almost like a sock that's kind of coming away from the bone. It's so deep. You're definitely correct about the loss of that limb.
Is there any way that I could look at the mechanism, because I have the talent Tinker, to see if I could make it? If you've ever seen a saw head trap, where it closes in past its its original range, or does it just meet like this?
No, the teeth are intended to allow it to kind of try to close beyond its range. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is there any way that I could try to make the spring, if it's super rusted, just collapse and just cut it off all the way?
You could give it a shot. Give me if you're kind of gonna want to work it back and forth like that. Give me a strength roll, I think.
Okay. All right. Well, this actually there's a thing to this, because I think all of us are here.
Yep. You can do a cooperative roll. Yep. So you've got that. So you have the bond with Bartleby, where you get a bonus if he's there. I'll give you that. And if you wanted, since Grimwald was right there and suggesting, you could do a cooperative test, which basically the way that would work, the stronger of the two will make the roll. And then you get plus 10 for the extra person helping. So it would be plus 10 plus a plus 10 from Bartleby. So plus 20.
And then also the engineering skill, or the skill in question would be even higher, I think, than that. I think it would be 30%, because it'd be 10 for the regular, and then the bond gives me something else. I think that's related to engineering test, but I guess this could be misconstrued.
Let's do it.
So I think what's your strength there, Griswold?
35.
Okay, I think we had the same strength bonus, or you might be 1 point higher than. No, I have a 34. So you go ahead, and I'll just.
Plus, he had this success before, so the more you can have James roll,
the more you can roll, the better. So take a plus 30%, I guess, from all those modifiers.
Yep.
Oh my god!
All right.
Oh
So
my god!
critical success. Yes. Well done.
Nice.
So something about the angle that you go about this in, and the angle that you pull apart, you start to kind of back and forth. And the only trouble is each time you move back and forth, it kind of just shreds the meat a little more, almost like a little pulled pork. But you hear the snap, and the rusty metal collapses, and you do in fact just have the badly damaged leg there. Dust from the rusty bear trap all in the wound. You can barely see it glistening in the moonlight shining over your shoulder.
This guy's a goner. But anyway, yeah, Oswald, so we have a separation in leg and rusty bear trap.
Yes, you do.
Alrighty, well, Oswald will keep this and put it in his little this bear trap. He'll keep the bear trap for now. No, he'll keep the he'll try to like remove the leg as best he can. It's a gory mess. But he will attempt to
lying out in the middle of the forest, though, right? Understand that like he is down and kind of there's leaves and God only knows what everywhere.
Oh, then yeah. If it's super irreparable, I guess I'll just toss it to the side and just help them carry him as fast as we can because seconds matter here.
They
get the better part of Edgar back to camp.
Yeah, I'm gonna start kind of lifting up, I guess, one of his, arms, shoulders, and kind of look to Unter and say, the man's lost his leg. We have to get him back to camp.
Desmond comes at this point whilst you were breaking said bear trap. Desmond returns with a torch for light. As he kind of shines it up nice and high, casting shadows all over the place. You can see the real serious kind of variety of textures in the wound of this sort of flopping meat in the blood. It's really awful. He holds it up as if, well, let's get him back to camp then, he says. Who picks him up?
I'll help.
Like one of his arms.
Yep.
So as you lift, so Geschwind and Bartleby start to lift, and Oswald kind of tending to the leg while the others are around. And again, the rest of the sort of caravan folk are around, kind of murmuring and such. You start to pull, and you realize that there's something resisting your pull. You can't actually lift him, and it seems like you're pulling up parts of the plant life around him as you lift him. What do you do?
Oh.
He says.
Can I inspect the area a little bit more?
You
somehow?
Absolutely can. Why don't you give me a perception roll?
Oh man, that's not good. That's a no bueno moment.
You think?
Let's see.
Give yourself
yes, the thing I'm actually good at.
Yeah, give yourself plus 10 as well because you've got a torch at least now. Yes. Okay, good. Your critical success. So the first thing that you notice as you've lifted him up is there's blood, obviously, from this wound. It's an absolute just blood bath, but something's moving in the blood. You can see the leaves almost seeming to undulate a little bit, and as Geschwind lifts, you hear this sort of as something is pulling the meat away from the bone. What do you do?
Oh wow. Yeah, I think Oswald just kind of like pushes some hands away and tells everybody to stand back, and then like points out like something's going awry here. Like,
okay, Geschwind, do you put him down or do you hold him out where he is? What do you do?
Like I'll point out that like the ground is effectively like sucking up the meat.
So, gotcha. So it's not like it's attaching where I'm holding it. It's like localized at the wound.
It does seem to be localized at the wound. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I quickly set him down and I kind of toss my dagger towards. Sorry, blanking on the name.
He's got to look at the street. Yeah. Nice. So you toss a dagger his way. So I just have to ask quickly, Corben, what are you doing? You hear off in the distance, there's quite a ruckus going on. There's the sound of you can hear your comrades kind of shouting back and forth at each other. You hear a stick hitting something kind of over and over again, and then
whack, whack, whack.
and then of course there's this sort of group of caravanners who are just I wonder if he's all right sort of thing. What do you do?
I'll kind of meander along with the group. I don't want to hang back by myself necessarily.
Well, that's the thing. You do notice that you are by yourself, except for the oxen, which is bad. They're not very. They don't have your back. So you step into the.
Yeah, exactly. They're not a lot of protection.
So, Geschwind, you fling the dagger over to Oswald. What are you doing, Grimwald?
If they're working on getting him free, I'll just help hold him up so he's not laying on whatever's trying to get him there.
Fair point. So you kind of, wrap your arms around him. Oswald, you have a dagger in your hand. Bartleby, what are you doing?
Bartleby was carrying or trying to lift him with everyone else. So Bartleby just kind of takes a step back and puts.
I'm going to say that you had the other leg.
Okay. Yeah, Bartleby will immediately drop it and stand away.
Okay, so you kind of step back. You can see as he's sort of I don't want none of that.
So, I think Oswald, in his other hand, he still has that kettle. By the way, that's kind of not as bright as of a red. He's gonna take the hot bit of the kettle and put it up against not the Egbert, the fallen man, but where his leg connected to the ground, where it was almost kind of sucking it up. He puts the hot thing on top of it, to see if it does any type of reaction at all, or
it's gonna smell better than the ferret.
One quick thought, Oswald, when we have your miniature made, he's gonna have a kettle.
No, I fully intended, my thought process was I was gonna take that kettle and swing it at somebody's face if it was the hot end. That's what I was planning on doing, but it's even better. I just want to see, does it react at all?
Yes. So as you lower this still quite hot wrought iron kettle down onto this sort of wet, bloody, rooty ground, absolutely, you put it down in here, almost like a squeal, though it's so high pitched, it's hard to really discern as being a sort of creature. It's just kind of as it shrinks away from the heat.
Ooh,
this is where we're going to start an initiative. So initiative in Warhammer 4th edition basically is in order of the initiative attribute, or you can roll. I prefer, let's just do the initiative attribute. So Oswald, you put the kettle down and everybody's kind of watching sort of suspensefully as the torchlight flickers around. And this root system, it's just like angel hair spaghetti, but obviously dark and sort of glistening with blood, just spreads out as if it's clearly experiencing some kind of pain. Grimwald, what do you do?
I try and get poor Egbert away from that stuff if he's free.
You start to drag. As you start to drag, it's as if you've now agitated whatever this is. Maybe it was the heat, maybe it was the motion of pulling its prey away, but it actually starts to pull back. The rest of you hear this kind of whispering sound around, as if maybe the mass of whatever this life form is stretches out about 10, 15 feet around you, which is when you feel the tickling sensation on your ankle. You start to pull. Sadly, the Viney McNasty rolled a 93. So you step as you feel it tickling up your ankle. You yank your foot loose. What do you do for your action this round?
Just try and take Egbert out of here.
Okay.
Transition to just a fireman carry if I can.
Let's go for strength and agility, please.
Regular?
Yes, I think that's fine. Nice. So you lean down and just with all of your strength lift him up over your shoulder, and you hear this sort of tearing sound. We've all heard that sort of vine being pulled past. Then you start to run. The trouble is, it had you more than you thought it did, and it's actually around your boot, and it causes you to stumble forward. So next round, you may have an opportunity to fall face first into this this massive, disgusting root stuff.
Looking forward to it.
Nice. Oswald, you are next in the initiative. What do you do?
So I am actually going to on my gear, I have a lantern. I want to spend this time, and I would assume I would have it. I want to spend this time to disconnect the oil well on it.
Okay.
So that essentially is my turn, I believe, because I'm drawing something and I'm
So I'm not gonna be a super hard ass, but I'm gonna say at camp, the odds are that you're toting around your lantern and backpack and full kit. Your lantern and stuff like that, given the circumstances, is probably back at camp, right?
Okay, that's fine. Can I see? Is there like any like concentrated mass of like disgustingness nearby, or like is it all over my feet or whatever?
So it looks to be at this point. Picture roots that are more like angel hair spaghetti, just sort of entangled and sort of rough, rising up out of the soil in unlikely places. There's no central like sort of veiny, gross like big pile of testicles or something. It's just
okay.
Roots.
Okay, so and it's all over the ground. So Oswald has an idea. The stew is still relatively hot. Yes.
Yes. Probably so. Yes. It hasn't had time to really.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Oswald is going to. It may burn him a little bit, but he's gonna like quickly grab the edge of the rim of the top of the thing and just pour out in front of him this stew that is rather warm in front of him in a big semicircle, and like all over it.
Ferret in it.
Yeah, it's all of its feet or like in front of his feet, and it has meat and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of warm, just to try to like draw, or if not draw, but because it has heat to push things away.
Brilliant. Got it. So you do that. Let's have just a general melee skill to see how I know Corben's going to be pissed. Oh man. Yeah. So let's have just a melee skill, and again, you're going to dump it.
Already pissed. The stew walked off into the woods.
And
the
it's
first
almost,
casualty of the game.
Yes, the first thing.
Oh God, no! I fail so terribly. Jesus.
So you spread it around. I mean, you're going to turn a pot upside down. There's no failing at that. You do hear a slight sizzle on one of your hands, or it's a little hotter than you thought it was, but you spray this stuff around and this glops out more like, because it's this thick stew. So it's like, I think Corben, as far away as he may be, I think like all sound stops in the forest and you just hear like in slow motion. But back to the main scene. So you kind of spray this stuff around, and surprisingly, within a couple of seconds, these roots actually start to move toward that viscous stuff. Like, man, this is good. But it's also still going to try to eat you. So let's see about that. And with a 57, sadly, no. So the roots, the good news is the roots suck. They're inaccurate and terrible, and I'm buying new dice tomorrow. But you stumble backwards away from this kind of stew to, you've got this scene where these vines are coming in and starting to devour it. Next on the initiative is Bartleby. So Bartleby, what are you doing? You've dropped the leg. What do you do, seeing all this chaos erupt around you?
Bartleby is not equipped for this, so he's pretty much going to go wherever the light source goes.
Nice. You pull in up next to the torch as close as you can.
Yeah.
So Desmond is right there. So you're kind of right next to him. You see probably about 10 feet, say, to your left. Oswald just dumps the dinner everywhere. You hear the halfling, no. What do you do for your action? So you can move up to, what is it? Walk is like twice your movement. Run is twice that, and then you can act, or you could just stand there.
Right. So
it's gross.
Knowing that these roots are everywhere, Bartleby will cautiously move adjacent to the torch, and then draw his dagger and just kind of look at it like, this is not going to be enough.
Yeah.
And that's like, is there such a thing as like a ready to action?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. You can hold your action if you'd like it, or specifically there aren't rules around it, but I get where you're going with that.
Yeah, so Bartleby will hold his knife ready to attack if anything.
So we're again, Corben, real quick. You're next in the initiative. What are you up to? You no, and then what?
I'm just shaking my head, wondering what they're doing out there.
Okay.
There's no good reason to dump a bunch of stew out in the woods. Yeah.
Those terribles. They don't even understand what I went through to make that stew. Geschwind, that brings us to you with, what is it, like a 29 or something in initiative?
Yeah, also sorry for that misclick on there. I thought that was the edit button, but I believe the skull is the edit button. Yeah, okay. Sorry about that.
You are doing that's true.
So, yeah, I just threw away my only weapon. to Oswald, so I'm going to also make towards the light source.
Okay, you kind of move into the central area now. So unfortunately, you moving away obviously is kind of causing our poor friend a little bit of a problem. Actually, I'm sorry, he's over
Egbar?
No, yeah, he is over Grimwald's shoulder. My old man brain kicked in. So you're going to try to stagger away. So give me a dexterity roll. Why don't you? Or if you have a appreciable dodge, you can use that as well to kind of dodge out of the situation.
Yes, I will go with a dodge.
Do I have any crafting skills, meanwhile, around sort of botany and that sort of stuff, herbalism?
Nope.
You don't?
Nothing around that. I can navigate my way out of here, though.
You do this sort of high knee, oh no, kind of backwards, like back a good, your full move backwards, and are actually clear of, well, for the moment, of these disgusting vines. Although you do notice, in fact, that Grimwald is struggling to get out of the situation, which turns the round over. So, Jim, you were holding an action. What do you want to do?
I was holding it in case something came up and attacked us or whatever else. But it, like Bartleby, will just be on guard, kind of brandishing his dagger, shaking. Okay, so you kind of brandishing your dagger. You notice that the light source is starting to kind of move back and away, and quickly getting the vibe that we need to get out of this area. This the interesting thing is in the flicker of the torchlight, you can see that the vines themselves don't seem to be as much wood as maybe some kind of like greenish flesh, some little kind of slimy, the bits that aren't bloody from the leg, of course, flesh, and it seemed to be kind of popping up from wherever the out and around the rest of the roots. So what are you doing, Grimwald? So you are trying to sort of carry this guy over your shoulder, and of course your bad back is at risk here. Don't forget, so don't fumble. You're going to need a let's say a dodge roll and a strength roll to pull forward.
Oh, good. Twice the chances for failure here.
Yes, and there is a way to combine those.
Both at 0?
Yes. I think that's okay. So your dodge roll, sadly, fails. So your strength roll, I'm going to ask for success. Ooh, no. Sorry. So you are running with this guy over your shoulder, trying to push forward as you feel you're unable to move forward as quickly as you should. And before you even realize what was going on, these roots are actually climbing up your legs, both of them, up to the knees at this point, and you're unable to pull forward, instinctively kind of almost dropping poor Eggbear, who is, going to die anyway, so whatever. What do you do?
Just struggling against it and probably getting really panicked now.
Yes, you are absolutely panicked and shouting and that sort of thing, I'm assuming. Oswald, you hear Grimwald kind of calling out, and out of the corner of your eye in the periphery in the weird flickering torchlight, you can see him kind of almost stagger forward and drop Eggbeard right face first, unconscious face first, into these roots. What do you do?
So Oswald was doing that because I envisioned him a little bit ahead of everybody, and he's a very pragmatic individual. He is going to, with that possible distraction that he was trying to give himself a little bit of leeway and everybody else, and he sees that it's kind of working, but kind of not. He looks to his kettle that is still a little bit bright. And effectively his only weapon other than the dagger in his other hand. He's going to somehow stow that dagger in whatever in way shape he can.
There's a yeah.
Oh no! I have a kettle. I just throw it into the kettle, and he runs up to. I will take an action to go towards Grimwald and Eggbear, excuse me, and use an action to help.
Okay, so your move is covered, and I'll give you a free action to hear the clatter, the clanging of the dagger into the sort of burnt remains of this stew, and you keep the kettle with you and go running back with these kind of kettle?
Oh yeah, this kettle is now like I'm gonna turn it into a helmet. Like
sort of go running back, and I mean, what do you do when you arrive? What is your action? So you take your move and you close the distance. You're back into the danger zone with these roots, and
Oswald is going to what would be better? Are the roots all over Eggbear and
not Eggbear? No. So Grimwald has them about up to his knees on either leg. So your first thought is clearly cut both of his legs off and everything will be fine.
I think I'm going to try to do an intimidate here, actually. And I'm going to if you ever seen oh god, it's not Predator. I think it's Jurassic Park where he has like the flare or whatever.
Okay.
I'm gonna take the kettle and like swing it around the things because they don't like heat. Like.
Okay.
Like take
close proximity, not like kind of just swinging it around over your head and screaming.
Oh yeah, okay, no. I'm like trying to swing it back and forth, like with both hands, like hey, back off, back off, back off
of it type thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It may not be too successful, but I mean, it's worth a shot. Like
I'll give you the shot. So give me an intimidation roll if you would. Make that -10 though.
-10.
A little bit tougher, yeah, to scare a root.
Oh hell no!
I'm gonna run outside and try that. So it could be that the heat, you're not swinging it close enough for the heat to really register. It's maybe they don't have sort of eyes; they can't see what you're doing, and they're like, I don't even know what that sound is. It's just yelling and stuff. But you do swing it around and at least get that sort of charge of adrenaline, which is fantastic. Folding over to Bartleby. So what do you do? At this point, this has captured your attention. So you have Oswald who's kind of run back and he's trying, as he can, he's, get back away from my friend. You've got Grimwald who's struggling against these branches, or against these roots. What do you do?
So looking at the way these roots are climbing up Grimwald's legs, does it seem like they're growing towards the source of blood still?
It does.
Like
it
are they
seems, yes,
stronger at the back?
Quicker.
All right.
They're just kind of going. Yes.
Okay. So I don't know how to represent this with the dice, but Bartleby is going to move up to Grimwald and attempt to pull Eggbear off his back and throw him to the vines.
Okay. Okay. So you come running up, grizzled as you.
Sacrifice.
So I'm gonna say the move is covered, and just give me a strength roll.
Sure.
I think that Eggbear at this point is just kind of sort of tottering there anyway.
Yep. I think I have a feat that goes with this.
Nope,
I do not.
Sacrifice allies feat.
Bodies.
Yeah, I thought I had strong back, but I don't. All right, give me strength. With the 0 modifier?
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Nice.
Oh wow.
So you like throw him out of the forest. This level of success represents two things. So first of all, you step into the vines and you feel them start to constrict and just rip your leg loose as you kind of grab Eggbear off of Grimwald and literally kind of chuck him. I mean, it's not like you football throw him for real. You just sort of kind of fling him over into a heap. As he's unconscious, he sort of collapses and bends over backward at a weird angle, and literally as soon as he hits the ground, these things just start to come out of nowhere, and you hear this sort of sound as they start to really kind of dig into the meat, and actually the ones attached to Grimwald start to kind of lessen their grip, and you are able to break loose and get out of danger. Well done, Bartleby.
Makes no sense to die for someone who's already dead.
And he just sort of turns and walks away all like, where's that fucking stew? What do you do? So obviously you're on edge. There's these things out there. This is just sort of just impenetrable darkness out in the Reikwald forest, and you thought it was a little safer than this.
So has Grimwald actually come out?
So
away from this?
Yeah, so you sort of very quickly, obviously Grimwald kind of, as soon as he escapes, kind of runs. Grimwald, you sort of collapse on the ground, just having struggled, you sort of fall and kind of collecting yourself. Everyone's,
well, that certainly was scary, wasn't it?
Says, says Unter, who has stepped very far back from the conflict.
I kind of go over to Grimwald, kneel down, and apologize for the situation I put him in. I know I owe him and should not have left him like there, but I reacted out of my own self-interest, and sorry for that, which is very uncharacteristic for me to say, actually.
Like a stunned nod back, like it's okay, but he just
Like,
threw him into
fuck
the.
you.
No, but just shocked that we got thrown to the vines and eaten.
Yeah. I'm not hungry for stew anymore.
So,
But we're good.
Good thing there isn't any.
What's with all this sitting around? Is there something to eat?
says Unter. He looks at the halfling, who's still kind of back a bit, right? Like he's still not sure what's even going on there. Hey, he pushes you on the shoulder.
Dare you cook something? Are we gonna eat?
I did. They took it.
Why don't you let them take it? What the?
Let them. It's not like they asked.
Well,
They just
then
grabbed
I'm
it and ran.
Well, you're gonna
Yeah,
have to
and-
go out there and get it then, because I'm hungry.
He says.
They dumped it out all over the ground.
How do you know that? You were back here like a
I can-
coward. That's what I thought. You make me something to eat or I'm gonna fucking kill you, you understand?
I'll make something.
He turns and shambles away, his ass crack up to the middle of his back, hanging. Just
Oh God. Oh God. I guess during this, Oswald. Well, actually, we're still in initiative order, aren't we?
I think you're good, unless you want to run back out and do some like kind of running around.
Oh hell no! Oswald's not a seasoned soldier. He was just trying to help as best he could. He'll just is like, we have to go, and he heads off using his strong legs to make great strides towards the wagon train.
So you head that general direction. You hear a couple of comments about you've got a wagon that's kind of half taken apart at this point. But yeah, so you kind of generally all go back toward camp, I would assume.
Make sure none of the killer angel hair pastas in my boots or pants.
Yeah.
You won't think of Borelli the same, will you?
Never again. Never again.
So you return to the camp, and thankfully you're in this, as you look around, again, the ground here is very rooty, I did say. And thankfully most of the area that you're in is kind of like a clear dirt, sort of thick roots, not this sort of tenderly stuff. The one thing that gets you now that everything is quiet is there's this smell. And there's this just kind of breeze. Maybe it's the weather, it's been like that, but there's this pus, this infection smell that's very light on the air. Could have been the halflings cooking, but probably not.
Gonna go with the halflings cooking.
Nice. So you reassemble the caravan and take out in the middle of the night, or take off in the middle of the night. Is that your thought, to kind of put some distance in between you and this?
Oh yeah. Cut and run.
Like
Oswald, as soon as he ran back to camp, he's just literally lifting the wheel back up and reattaching it, and putting the pin in, and he's just gone.
Okay. The adrenaline helps with that. No test necessary. Although the hurry could.
Well,
What did you say, Eric?
he's going to have to get that wheel reattached. I'm going to have some more beer.
Okay, you pour yourself another mug as you're kind of standing there. This guy's like, you're going to be fighting this epic villain one day, and he's just going to be standing off to the side, throwing back pints. So, as you're pouring, that's the spirit then, says Klaus, one of the other servants on this caravan, as he holds out his flagon to fill it with beer.
Guy, fill it.
So what are we going to eat? He says.
I don't know. They seem like they're in a hurry to get out of here.
Yeah, but we've still got to eat. It's been a long day. We're not going to survive without food. I think you should make us something. I think Unter was right.
Damn right, I'm just fucking hungry.
He says off to the side, listening in.
I scavenge around, see if there's anything worth making in short order.
Give me a cooking roll while you're doing that. Everybody's got to eat. So everybody sort of starts to break down camp. The handful of folks, there's about 18 in total. You'll meet them as we go. But they're sort of breaking down the various sort of lightweight camping things that they had put out. Nothing like tents or anything like that, because you're sleeping on a road effectively. How'd you do?
Ooh.
You make like the most.
I think the beer's helping.
You invent beef Wellington or some shit like here at the campsite. So you actually kind of go through and find some various dried foods and make a salad or some such thing. As you approach Unter with it, he's very impatient, just kind of staring at you through those sunken eyes.
Well, that's what I thought. Now, can we talk about this painting now that everybody's finished dying?
He says, as he starts to chow down on the salad.
As you wish.
So the last one that you did made me look like I got boobs. And I don't got boobs. We need to look like more muscled. And I would like you to get started tomorrow, because when we get all the way to town, I'd like you to just fuck right off,
he says as he's eating.
All right, I'll get started as soon as possible tomorrow.
Excellent. And where's the boy? Where is he? I could use a back massage,
he says.
I'm not sure. You want me to find him?
Yes, I want you to find him, and I want you to get your fucking paintbrush and start painting. But yes, bring him here, he says.
I go look for him.
So it resumes as if this guy didn't even die. There was no carnage, no injury, no excitement whatsoever. He's clearly just wants to get back to his life as being served. All 700 to 900 pounds of him. It takes you about a half hour to 45 minutes to break down the caravan and get it to a state that it can move. And you start moving. At this point, it's about 1 o'clock in the morning. And so you will wind up driving overnight and well into dawn before you reach another suitable stopping place. The oxen don't move very fast. Thankfully, you can hear the wind kind of just swirling and the sort of snow kind of just making its way through the trees, but nothing like you'd be experiencing if you're outside of the forest. What do you do during your journey? Do you stay awake? Do you try to get some sleep on the wagons? How do you approach that?
Mope around because Egbert died.
Okay. That's the second one, if you remember your backgrounds. That's the second one to die on this journey. The other one was fell off of a cliff, poor guy.
Yeah, was anyone close with Egbert that we know of? Or did he have family or anything like that?
You do know that back in Osberg, he's the son of a farming couple. And they're still alive and still very happily married. He talks so highly of them, before he died.
Sorry, what was it? What was the town he was from?
Osberg.
I just kind of jot a note down to hopefully be able to, unfortunately, deliver that news to them.
There you go.
Well, actually, can you read and can you write? This is a question.
Oh, that's a great point.
He draws a stick figure of Egbert with a frown.
Stick figure, X's over the eyes. Yeah, I guess maybe I can.
Can or can't?
Can't.
Uh-oh. Well, that's.
Would that be under advanced skills?
Yes, it's actually a talent that you can read and write.
Gotcha. No, then I cannot. Well, never mind then.
So do you allow yourselves to try to rest and recuperate? Do you stay awake for the journey? How do you handle that?
Oh man, I think Oswald is probably he's made off with the kettle. He just in his adrenaline filled stupor, he managed to secure it in his own belongings somehow.
He's got it, his big iron kettle sitting around. No, that's not yours. That's mine.
And he just kind of I think Oswald is actually going to spend a little bit of time to try and replicate the design or the mechanism for the old bear trap, just because I have parchment paper and some basically like engineer's tool, like a oh god, what do they call those things? I have no idea what they're called. The little like stick thing that helps you draw straight lines.
A compass and other things. And the T-square. Yeah.
And I just want to kind of like replicate the image or the mechanism that I was working with earlier. Just in like, I'm not an artist or anything, but like in crude nature, like what it would be. basically stick figure, but have it written down on a piece of parchment and then like put notes by it and all this other stuff.
Yeah. So you're making a diagram. So Geschwind, you're kind of, doing what you can to sort of, we'll say a couple words here or there, right? You're sort of kind of memorializing the date and that sort of thing. Corben, what are you up to? You sleep?
Well, having been spared the horrors of the blood-sucking vines and having imbibed a generous amount of liquor, and not being a wagon driver, I think this is a prime opportunity to sleep.
You get rip-roaring failure of consume alcohol, skill drunk, and pass out, and have his wonderful dreams about tube cakes. Grimwald, what do you do?
Nothing much, just moping around, not happy.
So you just sort
one
of
of my
stay
friends
awake,
just
or are
died?
you resting? Yes, absolutely. You kind of mourn the loss of your friend, sort of riding along the wagon, doing your chores as much as you can. Bartleby,
Avoiding some of it.
Yes. What do you do, Bartleby?
So Bartleby will offer Grimwald his condolences. If there was any other way, I would never have done it, but it didn't make sense for you to die too.
Yeah, thanks. It could have gotten me just as easily.
I'll offer him a swig from his flask.
Thank you.
Nice. He's like, here, get drunk. That's what we do here. That's, so you bond a little bit, and it's crazy just thinking about what's going on back there, right? Those vines just kind of tearing your friend apart, and the vision of what his leg looked like. It's really the first carnage like that you've ever seen in person. Sort of the battles and the injuries of battle are generally sort of romanticized. You don't hear about that level of viscera as much. So the following morning comes. You've traveled for God knows how long. It's slow going in these sort of winding roads. The sound of Unter snoring is like this.
Sleep apnea.
We're pretty sure at some point he literally died, but then he like brought himself back. Like
it's just, what it is he's
I'm
dead.
pretty sure he has wake apnea.
Yeah, but the reverberation of his girth is keeping his lungs moving. No, he's been sleeping for some time now, drooling all over the place after having eaten his salad or whatever it was that the halfling made. So you come to a point where it's actually safe, you think. You're in a greener area. The sun has come up, and it's probably at this point about, say, 7 a.m. It's kind of bright enough that you can see. The forest still casts really weird shadows, but the caravan has stopped. Everyone's sort of taking some time to relax and clean themselves up and eat. And still, it's almost as if these vines are following you. You can sense them in the distance. The wind continues to build. Still a little uncertain what's going on here. It's unseasonable. We shouldn't have these kinds of storms this month. So you're breaking down things. The halfling's making eggs. He's done it right this time. He's sober. A little worse for the wear. You sit down to actually have your meal, and you're sitting around, and Wagner speaks up.
Listen, I know you don't think I have a heart, and I'm really sad about Egbert. It was his stupid fault for going out into those woods, but I didn't want the boy to die.
He pats the halfling, kind of stroking the back of the halfling's neck in an almost like kind of a too friendly sort of way.
We'll get through this together. I can't do it without you all. Right?
He looks at each of you in turn.
Right. I go serve somebody some eggs so he's not petting me.
You turn and walk away.
Wise.
That's good.
Right.
Oswald just kind of, he's flipping through a book of his, and looks up at him. Doesn't really say much, but he just keeps flipping through the book.
Just
Seems like a small nod.
Yeah. He kind of concedes and sort of walks back over toward his litter. So his wagon, of the 8 wagons that you have in this caravan, his wagon is just a flat with essentially a roof because his girth is just too much. So really he's kind of cruising on a tent most of the time. He goes and sort of situates himself back onto it with his attendants kind of coming in to feed him and clean his mouth off and such because he doesn't like to work for himself. You've gotten to a point where it's just the group of you who are out there with those roots, and you're sort of in a circle kind of talking. You hear in the distance, almost like a hint of thunder, this sort of sound. It starts to get a little darker, and that smell, you can smell it again. Rot. Not pus, just rot. Again. Heavier this time, louder, like something breathing louder. And then the ground starts to rumble. What do you do as you start to sense this? What do you do?
So Oswald, like, he'll close his book and then like secure it onto his pack, and he starts looking around like, what are those things doing? Do you think they are following us?
I stand up and actually check that I got my dagger back out of the pot at some point during the trip.
Oh yeah, Oswald would have cleaned it off and like given it back to you. Like
perfect.
Yeah.
I guess a perception, if I can sense if it's more the rumbling as if like a caravan is coming, since I've been traveling on the roads long enough to know if it's like a large group of people coming down the road.
Good
or
thought.
if I think it's like weather.
So you pause to listen, and it's neither of the above. The first thing is it's definitely not localized. It's ambient, and it's distant, it seems.
Gotcha.
It's not like weather, though. Weather is high up. This is close to the ground. It's this sort of like this undulating sound, and it's getting louder and more constant.
What's going on?
Says Unter at the back of the caravan. People are starting to kind of look around, and one of the hands comes walking up to Grimwald, shaking your shoulder. Hulda is her name. What is going on? What is this sound? Is this the vines again? They're coming for us, she says.
I try and calm her down. I don't know what it is. I try and stand on a large rock or on a wagon, just not on the ground.
Okay, so you hop up on a wagon and cover your butthole, right? You're just like... Awesome.
So Oswald actually is going to do something a little bit probably foreign to most people. He's going to take, is there like a flagon or a small like wooden cup or anything like that nearby?
Sure. So there actually, wherever the halfling is, there are flagons of beer. I'm assuming you probably all have one because he's an enabler. So sure. Wooden flagon, ironbound.
Is there one like kind of empty or like?
You make one by way of turning it upside down. Just done, empty.
Oh yeah, no. Oswald will reach over, pour out whatever alcohol.
Now you're wasting good beer.
And he puts it upside down on the ground, like finding a flat surface, and he's going to put his ear up to the bottom of the cup. Like, so the open end is to the ground, and he's going to listen with his ear, like, pressed up against the cup.
Okay, so you grab this thing, turn it upside down, drop to all four, and throw your ear to it. Just at that moment, almost as if you made it happen, the rumble just... one of those sort of THX sort of sounds from the theaters, this very bass and kind of awful just sound. From the right and left, you hear what sounds like something just coming through the trees. Picture like a train driving through trees, though the engine's silent. So just this sound. As you put your ear to the ground, there's just this massive collision, and trees all around you just start to fall and shimmy. And literally in a line directly in front of you, as far as you can see, that's what's going on. There's fire, there's smoke, and there's a massive explosion. Hang on a second, let me show you something. Got something to show you guys. You're going to need to zoom out and roll 20, by the way, because I think it's going to zoom you in too far. So yeah, you see pastoral trees. There you go. There, that's better. Can you see it?
Oh, wow, yeah.
So something unseen rips through the forest, tears through the forest, branches flying everywhere, old, living, all that sort of thing. There's fire and smoke. Something rips straight through the middle of the caravan, ripping one of the wagons in half. There's screaming, there's confusion, and you are all where you are on the map. Which, if I move my screen around, I can actually see what that is. What do you do?
Well, first of all, I think Oswald recovers from the obvious spray of the actually exploding wagon. Thankfully he was on the ground, so maybe he got bits of particle going all over everywhere, and he unshields his eyes, kind of in disbelief, because I don't think he's ever seen magic stare at something like that, and he's kind of just awestruck.
Okay, so you are awestruck. Geschwind, what do you do? So something has ripped a wagon in half. You're not entirely certain what's happening here. Is it a dragon? Who knows? But there's fire, and something has torn a wagon in half, as far as you can tell, given your line of sight on the map as well.
Yeah, sorry, I'm actually trying to see where I'm at. I don't see
You are...
my character.
You are... Well, Jesus, watch this. It's gonna be spawn point
in the fire.
Oh, you know what? That's before you sent me the token. I think is what happened there.
Okay, so, yeah, I was kind of wondering if.
Geschwind, does anybody else have a similar problem in that they are not? Why am I dragging that over?
I'm not on the map.
Okay.
Probably.
Bad GM.
I've got mine.
Our compatriots just materialize out of the ether. We have that power.
We're here to save the day.
Yeah.
Geschwind is make sure I'm on the right level so he doesn't wind up as a map component.
I hate when I'm a map component.
Don't be a map component. Okay, you are here. Do you see you?
Yes.
Okay,
perfect.
Good.
Thank you.
Who else was missing? Was that Bartleby?
Bartleby, yeah.
Bartleby is
I can tell you who's not missing and who needs to be a size bigger, or at least a little bit bigger.
Got it.
Oh, who, Gunter? Or Unter?
Yeah, he needs to be drug out, just hold Alt and click one of the edges of his token just a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
One of the corners.
This is representative of his growth. There we go.
Oh, God.
He's going to help you guys slay a god one day, you watch.
Yeah, what is it?
Sumo wrestling.
Yeah, he's just going to fall over and a shockwave's going to happen.
So, this is the scene. There's fire. There's a wagon that's torn in half. There are people who may be hurt you don't know. You're free to move yourselves around on the map. Let's take this just in turns to keep it sane since we're virtual. I'm going to start with initiative order. So Grimwald, what do you do?
Is this a person down here?
So you step over and absolutely yes, it is. So his left arm is completely burned off. It is just gone. There is a charred stump. You can see the bone, and it still smells of burnt skin. And he's kind of rolling around like, oh, God, why? Sort of thing as you step up to him. The wagon is also on fire.
I'll try and drag him away from the fire.
Okay. So you this is it's becoming it's Warhammer EMT. So you drag him safely away from the fire. The wagon is still kind of smoldering. It's clear that it's going to go out on its own. Who's next on my Oswald? What do you do? You've got your
Oswald
flag, and you're kind of still down, like, oh shit, like you've got your flagon in your hand still.
Oswald is going to shake him out of his himself out of his almost astonishment at what had just transpired, and he is going to look, or actually he's going to run up past the down individual, so he's going to move to about there, if he can. I don't know how far his movement is. Let me go look at his actual thing.
I think you've probably got that. If you did a run, you'd be fine. If you don't want to do too much beyond that,
I don't want to do anything other than possibly make a passive look down this line and see where it goes, or in any direction if it just continues on forever. Which way did this come from, or did it happen all at once, from underneath the ground?
Actually come from two directions. That's what your sense was. So do a D10 roll though as you make that approach. So you kind of run up to the wagon kind of desperate to look around. I just want to see if you roll beneath 5, something's going to happen. Just a quick D10. Let me know what happens here.
Just oh yeah, 3.
Okay. So as you step up, you go to lean to try to see where this thing came from, and you hit something solid. And it's that sort of, if you've ever had your bell rung, right? When something hits you in the head, you get this bzzz in your ears, and you feel this kind of static charge around your hair. There's something there, more or less following that line.
Oh wow. Yeah, Oswald, like, I mean, he will smack into it, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's his turn.
Okay, so you
Like,
do.
so Oswald looks like he just smacked into a solid object, I guess.
Yes. Bartleby, what do you do?
Bartleby's a little, I don't know, shocked by what's going on. He'll probably move up closer to the next cart up.
Okay, go ahead and move yourself.
Yeah.
You got
If I can get right about
twice.
there.
Yeah, absolutely. So you get this. Then notice who's on the beer cart, right? But you you run up kind of next to that, and you see sort of right about that time, you see Oswald kind of holding his head and looking a little confused. You're not sure what's going on. Grimwald is checking out the almost dead guy. Do you take an action when you finish your move?
Yeah. Can I use an action to try to see where this came from?
So you can definitely take a look at that. So I'll give me a perception roll, actually. Let's see if you notice anything beyond what's immediately obvious.
Damn.
Wow. Well, you understand the secrets of the universe all of a sudden. So there's no point in us going any further because you know the answer to this.
Yeah, you've ascended to a higher power.
So
You're being played by somebody in a room with a headset on.
The first thing that you notice, right, you're kind of looking around. You see pretty much what's depicted there. There's a sort of dark, clear, burnt line. To the right and left, as far as your eye can see, trees are kind of leaning and swaying, sort of as if this thing kind of plowed right through them, whatever it was. What's really crazy is when you look up, the snow that should be falling on the ground is sort of gathering up there. A little by little, fleck by fleck. That's impossible. It's like there's glass up there. You've never seen magic. Magic's really not a thing.
Right.
What in the actual F is that? So that'll be your action.
Yeah.
Okay, beer man. So you had a front. Okay, so Corben. So you were driving the beer cart because that's your thing. You are in fucking charge of that beer cart. As this wagon was driving in front of you, these are oxen that are pulling this thing, right? So it's not moving very quickly. Suddenly, from the right and left, you saw this sort of flash. It can be said like blades of light coming in from the left and right very quickly, culminating in the middle and just ripping that wagon in half in the blink of an eye. Flames came up from there. Poor guy lost his arm. But that's not the worst of the carnage, and Oswald will see that in a second. What do you do? So you're there in the seat of the wagon.
Pull the oxen to a stop, look around, try to gauge what's happening, and is there any escape path short of going back the way we came, which has carts on it?
You don't know, so that's hard to say. So first of all, you don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking around for.
You don't know anything about a barrier, so keep that in mind. And as you kind of try to get the oxen to react, they're already kind of panicked and pushing backward. The wagon is slowly moving backward toward the one behind it, the one that is meant basically to carry Unter's fattest around. So the oxen don't listen to you, as a long story short. What are you looking
well, that's
for?
what I wanted them to do anyway, either stop or back up. So I'm good.
Okay, so you achieve your end, but you don't really know where this came from or what kind of escape path, as it were, might be. Who did I miss?
Yeah, I'm taking the time to look around and evaluate.
Geschwind, what do you do?
I'm going to do a perception as well, from where I'm staying to see, I guess, what I think maybe happened.
Okay.
Let's see.
If it's anything like Bartleby, you're going to know exactly everything that happened.
Hey, that's actually not that bad.
Yeah, it could be worse. So the key thing is you were, when this happened, there was noise, and you were in the midst of talking to Claren here, and just being like, kind of, I don't know, what is that? I've never heard anything like that sort of thing. And then suddenly this... Claren ran one way, you stopped and got prepared, and that's where you leave it. Do you want to move anywhere while you're at it?
Yeah, I'm going to actually move back a little bit towards Unter and face him and say, What is going on?
I don't know. I never seen anything like that in my life. We gotta get those flying fuck out of here, he says.
He's shaking, and when he shakes, he kind of undulates. It's like Jello mold being shook.
I think there's witchcraft afoot here, is what I'm thinking. Place is cursed. First the vines, and then this.
He reaches down next to him and pulls up a handful of grapes and puts them in his mouth.
Is there,
You've got to
would it
get
be
me out of here, Geschwind.
intuition to try to get a gauge on him?
Yeah, there's, I sent you a Discord message, by the way, Jason.
Oh, shit.
You might want to look at it, because it deals with one of my talents.
Oh, does it now?
Yeah, this is a while ago, so.
Oh,
But anyway, sorry,
Okay.
not to interrupt, John. Go ahead.
All good. Yeah, just I guess if I can do an intuition check, I can tell he's panicked at what's going on, but if I can, tell if there's maybe anything he's not expressing that he might know about.
Sure. Bing. Not about. Well, it's hard to say. He's clearly afraid. He seems confused. As you look at him, his eyes are kind of darting around. It's as if he can't focus on any one thing. You don't think that he's really... that he's not to blame here. He eats a lot, but he's not to blame. You don't just always blame that guy. And I got your note, Rivers. I think that I'll keep it in mind, but that wouldn't have caught you here.
No, that was from the previous one, so it'd been a while, but...
So... What do you do? So you did you want to move around anywhere? You moved up together. You said, okay, never mind. So okay, we roll over. So at this point, Oswald, I'm going to jump to you since you and Grimwald have kind of equal initiative. You have just bumped into this thing. What is it? You're looking around and there's air. And now that you're really looking at it, it's funny because the smoke coming up from the fire on either side is coupling up against something and sort of almost being deflected up away from this thing like glass.
Yeah, Oswald, and it didn't seem to have any like physical reaction when I slammed right into it.
Not that you saw, because it kind of was like it was a bit of an uncomfortable slam, but
what on the other side of this? What are they doing? Are they looking around? Can they hear us? Can we hear what's going on the other side?
So
is it doing a sort of same effect where smoke's going in an odd angle or something, or billowing out against the ceiling or something?
Yes. So as Grumman speaks up, he is a wagon driver, grizzled old, almost as grizzled as Bartleby, but not quite as awesome. He speaks up and says,
Oswald just...
He doesn't normally talk that way, just to be clear.
Interesting accent.
Yeah, Oswald points to his ear, and he does shakes his head, and so he'll actually I assume I have some sort of satchel. I have a sling bag. Do I know if this guy can read or not?
You have no idea.
Okay, well, shit. Let's see.
He likes to answer things with questions like, "Does a bear shit in the woods?" Or
yeah.
That's this guy.
Man.
So you're pondering what you're gonna do. Meanwhile, let me get Grimwald.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm still... You can go ahead and, I'll delay my whole turn while I try to figure out what the hell I'm going to do.
Yeah, you see kind of Oswald sort of there, and you see him motioning and making... You didn't quite catch the muffledness. There's this sort of... there's the guy that's moaning in front of you. Oh, what do you do? This guy's... the wound seems to be cauterized. You've never seen anything like it. His arm looks like sort of a burnt hot dog. With a bone.
I'm going to get almost dead guy to the cart and... Get him on it or something.
Hand him to Bartleby and let Bartleby go throw him in the vines. So you drag him back to the beer cart?
Yeah.
Okay, I did not make him a separate icon, so he's going to lay there, but we'll remember that he moved over. I draw a little stick figure there. So you kind of drag him back, and his eyes are wide, like what the hell even happened? And he's clearly in a lot of pain and somewhat in shock. So you drag him over. At this point, Halfling, this is the first carnage of this sort that you've seen. As you look down and see this burnt limb, this sort of burnt hot dog with a bone sticking out of it. I'm going to need a cool test, or you're going to barf all over Grimwald and the corpse.
Okay.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
There we go.
Nice.
Well,
I'm just too concerned about the beer cart.
You're thinking you've eaten worse. It's fine. Okay, so you drag him away and with your move, let's assume. And what do you do once there, Grimwald?
Try and get him on the cart. Ask them to help me
on
if
the
possible.
beer cart. Okay. So you ask for help, Bartleby. You hear this call for help, and it's your initiative next. So do you respond and lift the guy up and fling him over the barrels?
Yeah, Bartleby will absolutely do that.
Okay. So he's kind of dead weight. He doesn't protest a lot. He understands you're trying to help, and so you kind of heft him up. Thinking out loud, it would be much easier to get the halfling the hell out of the seat and put him there than to lift him up like 6 or 7 feet in the air and fling him over some barrels. You work it out that way. So halfling, I'm administratively moving you as that plays out. Okay.
Yeah.
And that brings us to Geschwind, right? I think.
Well, damn. So at this point, I can kind of recognize what's going on at the front of the cart. That the smoke's billowing up, and then it's.
Yep. You
some
see
sort
it
of magic.
literally pushing off of something unseen. It's an effect that it's almost out of a sci-fi movie. And frankly, you've never seen magic really ever. I mean, you've heard of curses and things, but that's about it.
I kind of run to the back of the carts and look behind us to see if there is anything. Like, my initial instinct is we're a trap. We can't go further. That means somebody's coming behind us type situation.
Smart. Okay. Give me a perception check when you make your move.
Damn.
Yikes. Okay. Well, you notice that forest life is as it should be back that way. It's calm for the most part. The birds are kind of starting to settle down. Things are starting to get back to normal. You notice that the smoke is just kind of rolling up. But that's about it because you didn't pass your check. So, although if you want to spend yourself a fortune point, it would push you over to 6. No, it wouldn't. Never mind. I'm sorry. That's wrong. You could re-roll with a fortune point.
I am going to message you in Discord real quick.
Okay.
Not sure if that would apply.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. No, not here because. And normally, remind me of that though. I'll get used to it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Shoot. I think that would be it. I'm gonna climb on top of this cart just to kind of keep, I guess, lookout because that's still my kind of intuition kicking in.
As you step to the top of that cart, literally as you kind of stand up and sort of straight back start looking around kind of quickly, you hear in the distance this sort of clearly a human calling out. Now, who knows what's going on? As you look, you're like, oh God, someone being eaten by roots. And you look, and probably 50 yards away, there's someone, it looks like kicking his legs, hanging from a tree. You're not sure what's going on, but maybe when this thing ripped through, he's suddenly hanging there, unable to get his footing and get back up into the tree. He's just sort of dangling. Feet.
How high up in the tree is he?
You'd say he's probably 25, 30 feet off the ground at this point. From the distance that you see him, he's kind of about that big where you kind of looking. The rest of you can generally hear the sort of faint in the distance.
Okay, I'm going to call to the, I guess, 2 guards closest to me of just like, There's a man stuck back there, and then I'm gonna probably can't move anymore, but like kind of face that direction, like I'm gonna head that way.
Okay, so you're gonna turn that way. They get alert and kind of head over this way as well, and so you will have a retinue. That's helpful. Okay, so rolling back around, Grimwald, what are you doing? You get him up on the cart.
Once he's situated, go back up to the front.
Do you take a stick and beat him on the head? And be like,
no.
Go to sleep. If the roll would have just gone well. So yeah, you move back up toward where Oswald is?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. So you kind of run that direction. Halfling, what do you see kind of Grimwald help you? You're sort of looking around helplessly, making sure your beer's okay. He runs toward the front. You see what's going on here with Oswald and Grumman. Grumman is talking, and again, he's like, "Oh, we come together tonight." Going, pointing on the other side of this wagon, saying something as if he's talking through a pane of glass. You don't see a pane of glass, but you do see the smoke effect. As you come up next to Oswald, what do you do?
Reach out and feel what's there.
Okay. You reach out and sort of put your hand on something that feels like slightly flexible glass. As you push in on it, it gives more like a kind of a living membrane almost, but it's sturdy. And clearly, by the way Oswald's holding his head, it's sturdy enough that it hurts when you run into it full bore.
Just trying to see how far it stretches, I guess, north
Just
or
lean into it. Okay. Not far. It's literally just a slight give, just enough that it doesn't feel like a hard pane of glass. It's maybe breakable. It's like as you push, it reverberates a bit.
Mm-hmm. And then I was looking to my left, so towards the top, seeing how far this stretches.
It goes very far. So you if you kind of zoom out on the map, you more or less see what you see before the underbrush gets so thick that it obscures your view. Give me a perception roll though, as you're right up here looking in that direction.
Any modifier?
No, we'll leave it flat. Why didn't I get the chat? Did you roll?
Yeah, he did. He got a 75 out of 39.
It just came through. You're just overwhelmed as you look that direction. Any super detail is lost on you, but yeah, you see these that it goes on. I mean, for quite some time. As you lean into it just a little bit, it looks kind of like it goes as far as the eye can see. Bartleby. Actually, I'm sorry. Oswald's after that, isn't he? Oswald, what do you do?
Oswald is going to, let's see. So, I have some remarkable skill with language. So I want to try and lip read what he's saying by rolling my language skill.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. So let's do that language skill. That makes sense.
So it's going to be, is he particularly known for being what kind of language does he speak? Does he just speak common?
Yes, he speaks common.
Because of that,
and pretty a man of few words, but very bombastic. So it should be reasonably easy.
Alrighty, well, I am gonna roll my base language then. Give me a second.
Nice. So you sort of motion for him to slow down and really lean in and look at what he's trying to say. And expletives aside, there's just a word or two here. Owen is dead, he says, and he's pointing on the other side of a wagon. Owen is dead, he says it again. What's happened? What are we supposed to do? He says. He points at it up right over your shoulder into the nothingness, and you can hear this sort of.
What exactly is he doing with the noise? Is he making it, or is it from behind him?
No. He's poking the membrane between the two of you.
Oh,
as he's pointing.
Okay, yeah. can I, with that roll, can I try to mouth to him? Because we were going towards Ubersreik, right?
Yes. Well, sort of. At this point, you were sort of winding up and doing the sort of wind around through the Reikwald forest. But yeah, you were headed that way. Yes.
Do we know of any like particular places that they could like head out to towards safety? Like that we would know that would be predetermined?
Not so much you. You're not a real sort of skilled traveler, or you know, kind of having come through these roads before. But you could certainly say press on, which would be the only direction that you would know to go.
Yeah. So I think Oswald will take it upon himself to say, in short, to say like press on in a way, and try to convey that we will meet back up with him in like rudimentary terms. We will find another way or something like that. Like
okay, give me, just for kicks, give me another language roll. Let me see what he thinks you say.
Okay, yeah, that's perfectly fine. I'm gonna try.
Yeah. You would know that kind of around the corner from where you were sort of headed is a place called what is it? Schraubald? Yeah, would be the nearest sensible town. Schraubwald. Wow. One word.
Oh,
nice. Well done. Okay, so you go back and forth just a bit on, hey, you know, press on and go forward. And just as you're concluding that, you can hear the sort of wheezing of Unter Wagoner as he has made his way all this time, sort of toward the front, kind of past the rest, and you know, gets about up to the corpse, where the corpse was, and turns to the halfling.
What's even going on up there? He says. What is all this mess?
The Grumman, kind of understanding what you said, sort of looks at you and looks over your shoulder toward Unter, narrows his eyes a little bit, and nods his head, smirks a little, and turns away, walking toward the front. Trent kind of looks down at the ground and turns and falls in behind Grumman. They start kind of filing away.
Hey, where are they going? Oswald, Grimwald, where are they going?
He comes walking up next to you. What do you do?
Knock on the wall between us and them.
You what?
What?
They're just moving on to the next town. And he says in like broken. He speaks a bit differently than most of the other people around. And he. I instructed them to move on.
Well, you don't have any right to do that. What is this? There's some sort of witchcraft. Is this some sort of trick?
And he shoves you out of the way and slams into this thing. Face first. And you see.
Oh God! It's like I could just see it happening. It's like the Flubber movie from like 2000s. It just slams into us.
God.
It's just like flat. Dude, I could only imagine what it would be on the other side because they could like look back and have this like. It flattens out and like his like several week old like Cheetos fall out of his rolls.
As he leans back,
leave like a grease stain.
He does leave a little bit of a haze.
Wait.
Oh God!
You come back here.
She's screaming and shouting toward the others.
Oswald will look towards him in mild disgust, and say, "We need to leave."
Well, where are we going? We've got to go that way. We're certainly not going back the other way.
We have no other choice. You yourself,
of
your
course we've got a
rotundness.
choice. And that choice is for you to do what I say. Right?
He looks at Grimwald. What do you do, Grimwald?
We could try and find the edge of this.
Right, that's a great idea. See, this is why I hire thinking men. You don't just send the rest of the caravan on. Dig a fucking hole if you've got to. We're getting through it. Where's a halfling? He's short. Maybe he could go under it. Peck! Where are you?
He calls out. What do you do?
I hide behind the oxen.
You hide. So beware you may be shat upon. There may be a roll for that in a minute.
if I can get past them, I'll just go all the way to the other side of the wagon.
Okay, well, you go kind of walking over and start a dialogue with Kieran and Biren. They are twins, and they're kind of creepy. But yeah, so you're over there by them. So he kind of turns back.
Well, no matter. We will dig a hole. We do what we gotta do. Grimwald, you go find the end of this. You do that. That's a good boy. Right, off you go.
He says. And he gives you like just a breath and turns and looks and says,
"No, really, off you go."
I'm gonna go see if I can find Bartleby or Geschwind to see if they want to go along.
Okay.
Oswald is literally just like standing there with he's just kind of like, why did I sign up for this? What? Like he's having like a midlife crisis of, I left my perfectly comfy like dorm room basically for this, and he's like looking around.
He turns. He turns after kind of telling him go off, and he grasps you by the shoulder and leans in with his 7 or 9 or 40 chins flopping about. Says,
"Listen, you don't understand. This is important. I have to get to Ubersreik. You know that. We've got to move forward. We can't go back. I don't have the time."
I understand this, but there are better ways to do this than to let this happen.
Like what? To go back to the man-eating vine and have one climb up my arse? I don't think so. We're going through. This I can see. Is it not glass? Watch this.
and he just hauls off and punches the shit out of it. Just and his entire girth, all 9 million pounds, whatever it is, just mass flies backwards as if something just kind of some reflex sort of passed back from the membrane through him. Throws him back a good 6 feet. He lands with a thud.
Oh, God. Somebody help me up, he says. Sigmar's not smiling on us today.
Oswald will like move over to try and help him up, but he's just gonna mutter to himself while he's doing it, and then like in classic nobility speak or classical language, so nobody really understands him. Some how should I say it? Expletives of my own.
Fair.
And
so it takes it's going to take. So Grimwald has moved on. Grimwald, move yourself wherever you're probably over talking to Bartleby by now. So I'm going to need a strength roll, and it's not going to be easy as you try to lift him, and he starts to lean against and stand up.
I do have a bond that lets me get like a let's see, I think it's
yeah,
really by you
on the other
again
side
by
of the
you.
Card. Yeah, sadly the halfling's on the other side of the card. Otherwise you'd pick him up with one hand.
Okay, so I will attempt to pick this girthy man up, but we will see.
Give it a roll. No, so you're struggling. So you go to lift him up, and you're sort of pulling, and he's kind of pulling against you, and you're just going back and forth, and he's grunting, and you're grunting. It will eventually work itself out after you kind of stumble backward into the wagon, almost light yourself on fire, and he falls into the membrane again. But while that's going on, Grimwald, you approach Bartleby.
Hook an ox to him.
Yeah. God,
says the halfling from hiding between the ox's legs. You're just kind of talking between its legs. Grimwald, what do you say to Bartleby?
There's some kind of barrier between that split the caravan here, and the Wagner wants us to find or see if we can find the edge of it.
What's your mood there as you deliver that? Are you panicked, or are you just kind of like, hey, yo, there's this barricade over there and shit? Are you like, what's your state?
Not panicked, but just this is like a befuddling situation. This doesn't make any sense why this would happen, but we got to figure out a way.
Wide-eyed. Got it. Okay, so Bartleby?
1 second, and Bartleby will yell out to Wagoner, "Hazard pay?"
Klaus speaks up and says, "At this point, hazard pay is staying alive," he says. And he nods to you. "We gotta figure this one out. I'll get a shovel." He jumps.
All right, I'll go.
Let's see if we can get Geschwind too.
Okay. Geschwind, do you come help, or do you go hang out with the halfling beneath the ox's
shoot. I'm gonna call back. I'm gonna check on a guy's stuck in a tree, and then I'll be right there.
He says, "You're like, thanks for remembering that guy."
We can help out with that before we go check.
So you and Bartleby are kind of walking away. Geschwind says this, and you stop, and you're like, you have a moment, like,
Is there a tarp or anything we can like spread out between us underneath them? We can.
To kill. Well, that's smart. Yeah, you can. Let's assume that you can rip a bit off of the covered wagon, or now that Unter's out, you could. Although it's probably filled with lice.
Take his disgusting bedroll.
Yeah, you can take it. It's a rug. It's a beautiful rug. It's probably full of lice and stuff, but you could. Yeah, you could take that.
And then convince the guy to drop.
Good idea, actually. Yeah.
Just drive his whole wagon over there.
Where's my car going?
So the wagon's not making it that way. It's going to be a walk through the woods. So who's going north to the site of the dangling man?
I'll go.
I guess Oswald will go as well.
Yeah, okay.
Can I grab like some like a rope and maybe like a mooring system, like extra rope?
Yeah, you could get rope. So in the back of this wagon, there's a coil of hemp rope. You're not sure how long it is. It's 20 feet, 25 feet, something like that. But no, not anything special like a winch or any sort of mooring system.
Okay.
But yeah,
cool.
So you basically all start to kind of move north, and Unter, almost like he's throwing a tantrum, flops his arms down. Where are you going? He's just gotten stable from Oswald having pulled him up, and now you're all just running away to the north, and he's pointing at this flaming wagon. It's still kind of smoking.
Is he going to chase us?
Yeah, he's definitely.
I would be very terrified if he broke off into like a big NFL split. Like, oh god, that would be mad. That would be horrible. Oswald just shaking his head. He probably puts his engineer, like his book on like where his cart is, and places it somewhere where he knows it'll be okay for the time being, and then like, makes his way with what little he has, and goes about catching up with the guys.
Okay, so you basically go as a group. Some of the others, seeing the rest of you more able-bodied sorts kind of heading that direction, they stay back behind to console Unter, who, poor guys, is clearly upset. You moving into the theater of the mind, as I don't think this is quite as important. You move through the forest, and you don't see these vines creeping up, but I would love a perception roll from each of you.
Alrighty.
Fumbling failure. How do you handle that with a perception? Suddenly you don't even...
You walk into a tree limb, like a tree limb snaps and smacks into your face or something.
Yeah, exactly. Oops. So I like that idea. We'll go with that. So Geschwind, as you're moving along, kind of eyes on where you remember this guy hanging, you get just kind of clocked in the face with a branch. No real damage, but one of those annoyances, and your friends kind of scoff or something. Corben. It's your experience with ingredients that really does it for you. So you're familiar with sort of wild herbs of all kinds. The plants here are not right. You see these mushrooms, and your first thought is, oh man, I should harvest those. Those are valuable, and I could use them in my cooking. And then you notice that they seem like they're covered with some sort of sores, like actual sores, weeping pus. Not everywhere, like squirting it everywhere, like some Kill Bill or something, but just glistening with some sort of drainage.
Hey guys, are you seeing this?
He points to a stalk of mushrooms. They smell like infection. You gather around these mushrooms, and this sort of camera
something
pans
wrong
out.
going on here.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah,
let's
I'm
just get
not
this shot.
going to get that close.
You sort of kind of
Just like,
yeah. Bartleby, you're not biting. You're not going to walk up and take a bite of the mushroom.
Yeah.
What about slug belly? You're not going to just go. Oh,
I was going to say it's tempting. Not gonna lie.
Nice.
Congratulations, you found something that tastes worse than ferret.
So
let's be on our way, boys.
Again,
Don't want to
Is
be
it
here
just
too long.
mushrooms, or
what did you ask, Corben?
or Is it just the mushrooms, or does any of the surrounding plant life exhibit that?
So with that in mind, and looking around, it's not consistent. So it's not every plant. But yeah, there's something not right about the plant life here. It seems like there's fungus creeping in places, and strange fungus at that. Not just your typical sort of mold that happens when there's a lot of moisture. The other thing that's interesting is it's cold, right? You shouldn't generally have this sort of growth with that cold of temperatures. It should be mostly dead. But that's not the case here. Now, you're not standing on a carpet of it, so it's not like it's going to jump up and eat you, but it's definitely concerning. So the man hanging from the tree is the other thing. Yes. The man hanging from the tree is the other thing. As you guys stop and you're looking at the flora, you can see the branch sort of wagging back and forth like it may collapse. And he's, again, yet kind of this big in the distance, kicking his feet, trying to hold on.
Perhaps we should hurry.
You move on. Okay. So, Geschwind, do you take the lead?
I'll hurry along, but I keep an eye out.
Okay. You do.
Okay. Yeah, I can take the lead since I kind of saw him.
Okay. So you do.
I'm kind of unnerved.
You close the distance without a lot of trouble. You're expecting the oak tree that you passed to kind of come to life and try to pummel you, but it doesn't. You run past it. And ultimately you find yourself at the base of a very tall tree, and wide at that, which was clearly cut pretty much in half when this thing came into being, and that one half just sort of went like this. Now, why this gentleman was at the top of the tree, you don't know. But he's hanging there a good 30 feet up, and he's hanging over some other kind of jagged, sort of dead, rotten trees that he may hurt himself were he to drop. What do you do? He's not looking at you because he's sort of dangling there. I'm going to be the dangling guy now.
And we don't recognize him. He's not part of our party that got blown off or anything.
No, for
like
sure.
That,
No.
right? Okay.
That would have been funny. Is this one guy gets ejected? No. The one thing you notice about his dress, although you don't have time to really critique, is he really simple clothes, just almost made out of patchwork.
How big is this tree? Would it be feasible for me to climb it?
Maybe. The trouble is, as you look at what it's doing under his weight, if you were to try to climb, so you've got two halves of the tree. One is on this side of the dome, and one is on this side. He's dangling from a branch here. Were you to try to climb, it may push it the rest of the way over. That may be a good thing.
Okay, so his feet are hanging down low, right? Can I make an old-timey, out of this rope, if I think I have enough, can I, loop it and secure it in a knot and, kind of swing it and throw it over the branch so he can have, a foothold and we can lower him down?
You may be able to do it, so...
Something weird is going on here.
What's that?
I don't know what.
Oh!
This is...
Hearing voices hanging there. You're directly kind of beneath him. He's looking down. Give me a perception roll, Oswald.
Let's see.
He says.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he says.
I'm gonna try. Here's that perception roll.
He's not laughing though.
There you go.
Nice.
Killing it. Okay. So, first and foremost, you notice that he seems to, from this angle, you're kind of looking underneath him. And you're looking up at the top of his mouth, like the roof of his mouth. Seems to be a little dry, the tongue kind of waggling there. You're not sure what's going on. There's a very scarry kind of situation on the side of this guy's face. Not like a recent wound, not more no more carnage. But there's something wrong with this guy. And as he says, "Oh," you see his tongue kind of like it's trying to form a word, but he doesn't have the jaw to do it. He's trying to tell you something. Geschwind, you kind of feel alarmed all of a sudden. What do you do?
Yeah. Oswald looks to everyone and he says, "Our friend is missing a jaw. We should leave as fast as we came."
And go find his jaw so he can tell us. Let's go tell us his choice. Okay, so at that very moment, so Bartleby kind of back and stoic as he usually is, you hear something in the underbrush, Hey everyone, and thank you for getting this far. I wanted to take a second just to point out how badly I butchered the combat rules in this session. Despite the fact that I've been doing these rules videos for Warhammer 4th edition for a little while now, in the moment I somehow reverted to a sick mixture of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition and Pathfinder and Dark Heresy and Call of Cthulhu and Savage Worlds, and man was it ever a mess. Also, we're not used to remote gaming, so the whole technology stack was really kind of throwing us for a loop. Anyway, I won't keep you any further. Thank you so much for watching, and from here on out, cover your eyes. Off to the left of the tree, kind of away from the barrier, but it's something that sounds like it's moving very quickly through the brush, like a body pressing underbrush out of the way.
Eyes low, boys. Something's close.
He turns and spins that direction. At that point, you hear this sort of... There are 3 dogs, and not small ones, not the same breed, different, mottled, nasty coats, different structures, one kind of a flatter nose, one longer nose, but they're running as a pack. There are 3 of them running your direction. What do you do?
After alerting the party, Bartleby and seeing them coming, Bartleby would pull out his knife.
Okay. Pulling out your weapons, and the halfling, do you pull out your spoon as well?
I do have a dagger. I think that would work better than a spoon.
Fantastic.
So I will pull that out and then get back behind the rest of the more able-bodied people.
Excellent.
I wish I had my kettle.
Yeah, exactly. So now these dogs are quick.
Can we? I'm gonna kind of give the dagger out, but gesture and say, grab the carpet rug, or we're calling it. If we can like throw it at them.
Throw it just to kind of distract them, and so you
try to land it on them so we can
just sort of fling it their direction. Okay.
Yeah.
You will treat that as your attack. We'll do a really weird kind of ranged attack thing for that, I think.
Okay.
Fantastic. Okay, so first and foremost, Grimwald, what do you do? So you see these dogs running your general direction. They are absolutely just wild-eyed.
Is that to me?
Yes.
I set up with for the tarp trap there. And
Okay. So it's you and Geschwind. Okay, good. So which one of the two of you? So we'll do this on your turn. Which one of the two of you has the higher ranged skill? I guess they're based on dexterity, right?
Ballistic. I got a ballistic, 31.
Geschwind, what about you?
I think I'd have to go look, but I think I actually have a quite high one myself.
It's Geschwind and Grimwald, though. The two of them carrying the rug.
Yeah, sorry, my mic just freaked out. For ballistics, was it?
Yeah.
I've got 26.
And what was your Grimwald? The same?
31.
Oh, 31. Okay, so you'll make the roll, and you'll get a plus 10 thanks to Geschwind helping you. As you basically like, throw the rug, and quickly the two of you kind of.
Oh, damn.
No, so you I mean, as accurate as a rug usually is as a ranged weapon, you fling this thing, and it can't help but disrupt their pattern. So they were running together, and what you have done is managed to spread them out, which is fantastic. But no, you don't hit them and cause any damage with your rug or anything terrible like that. So that will consume your action, Grimwald and Geschwind. You can still move. What do? Do you sort of throw the rug and haul ass? Do you stand your ground? What do you do?
Like back to back?
Back to back.
Okay. So
I know I'm not going to outrun this thing.
Yeah. So you go back to back, and basically these things are just kind of running around the rug like I don't know what that is and why they threw it at me kind of thing, but maybe they think it's cursed. Okay, Oswald. So
the smell and the lice thought maybe.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, I got a lot of hair. I don't want any of that. So you see them throw the rug. You see the dogs split. The third one kind of remains in the back. So basically it's two coming in from either side of the rug, and you were kind of right behind them. So you've got an opportunity to act against either one of them. What do you want to do there? Oswald, did we lose you?
No.
There for a second.
Sorry about that. So I think Oswald is actually going to... see, does he fight dirty or does he try to just stab the thing because I technically have a dagger.
It's bearing down on you right now, and it seems to think it's going to eat you. So what do you do?
You know what? Actually, I think I'm going to do something a bit different here. I'm going to try and charge it. Or grapple it, actually. I think I'm going to try to grab it.
Nice. You're going to just tackle that fucker? Okay. So you're going to... All right.
Yeah, I think I actually am. I'm going to try and use brawling to... basically, he's running at us. He's not into combat with us?
No, they are engaged. Well, not engaged.
Okay.
They are running toward you. They're not engaged yet. No.
Okay, well, if they are running towards me, I'm going to use their momentum against them, and I'm going to try, like, run up on this dog and try to, like, not, like, bear hug it, but, like, pick it up, pick it up, maybe, like, hold it by the scruff of its neck or something get behind it just quick enough. Like,
okay, so give me your brawling roll. Let's see how that works out for you.
We'll find out.
Yeah,
it's not good. But we will try. Here goes nothing. Oh, whoa, look at that. Would you look at that?
Nice. So you charge in toward this dog, and it's running at you, and it's almost like time slows down, and you see its little eyes like, really? As you come in and you absolutely grapple this dog using your body weight against it. Now, it's not small, so when you try to snatch it up, you're like, oh, damn, that's not a chihuahua. It's a big dog. So the two of you just kind of collide and fall to the ground. You have it in a grappled state. And so we'll get to work through those rules.
Yeah. I'm sorry for doing that, by the way. I think it's like strength test versus strength test. I'll actually look in the book and try to find out where it is, so you can move on to somebody else.
It's an opposed brawling check. Yeah. But yeah, if you want to look it up, that works. We can learn something. So Oswald just like hate tackles this dog off to the side and around. It's snarling and gnashing its teeth at him, and he's rolling, and maybe he's gnashing his wooden teeth at it. Right. Then moving on to Bartleby, you see your buddy jump into the combat. What do you do?
Bartleby will engage the other dog.
Okay, so the other one that's kind of coming around the side, the other one's coming sort of straight up the middle. What are you going to do when you engage it? Are you going to try to... You want to tackle it too, and you guys can like have like some rolling around thing?
No.
No, okay, you're just going to...
Just going to try to slash at it with the knife.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
My dagger.
Give me your melee roll.
Okay. For the character sheet, is that down into weapons? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Nice. You guys, when combat comes in, that's when all your rolls start to flow.
So not to interrupt, but because I won, if he failed, if he's attacking the one that I'm attacking, he'll get a bonus because it's technical. Okay, cool.
He's attacking the second one. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. So you, as you come in, basically just stab this thing. And so what's damage there? The way I'm reading this is strength bonus plus success level. Well, success level is +3, +2, so 5 points. Holy shit. So you basically stab this thing right between the sort of neck and the shoulder, and you feel the dagger pop through its thick flesh and down in behind the bone. It lets out a horrific shriek. And you have taken a bunch of its wounds away, you bad, bad man. Hoping that this would be a recurring NPC, this dog. Thanks.
Oh, well.
Nice. So that's Bartleby. I'm thinking that you're not going to be able to move without causing some engagement problems there. So you are now engaged, which basically is sort of like attack of opportunity sort of stuff in D&D. Corben, what do you do? You see them. Your first thought is, can I cook that? But then what do you do after that?
So there's a third one hanging back. Bartleby's engaged with one. What am I nearest to that I could help with?
So you basically were walking right next to Oswald. So, and when the rug was thrown forward, basically one dog went to the right, one dog went to the left, one is straight ahead. Oswald has tackled one and looks like he's about to tear its head off, and Bartleby has stabbed another one and it's shrieking. The other one is barreling forward in a full run, more or less directly toward you in Grimwald.
I'm going to set myself up to try to attack the one that's running toward, in my direction.
Okay.
Just sort of brace for it, really.
Okay, so you want to try to kind of use your move to angle to sort of get you in position. Go ahead and give me your attack.
That's on here somewhere. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to find it.
No. So it basically comes running in, and you swipe at it with your dagger, but it basically overtakes you as it kind of runs in, and it obviously will be attacking you at this point. So you do not manage to stab it. You hit some fur, but that's about it. Who's Geschwind? What do you do?
As that one is coming at Corben, then I will try to stab that.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of theater of the mind, thinking you were on one side of the rug, the other side of the rug. Oswald's got that one rolling off to the side. It's the nearest target to you. Absolutely. Okay. Give me your roll.
Let's see. Damn.
Whoa, that's bad. Okay. Why is it not giving? Oh, yes, it is. Never mind. I see. So, like, the dog just kind of, between the two of you, he swipes at it with his dagger. You stab at it. What are you attacking with? Dagger as well?
Dagger. Yep. Man,
you guys are you're like a knife gang or something. You're just...
it's like enough for a bow.
Yeah, exactly. Just wait till Oswald gets his pistol. So the dog basically darts between the two of you and is going to actually turn and attack the halfling.
No.
I need so 83 is the roll on the table of 25. So oh Jesus, yeah, that's bad. So the dog turns and gnashes basically, and halfling, you somehow manage to dodge out of its jaws, though you can smell its breath and its spittle all over your face as it tries to attack you. Sadly, it will not do any damage. The one grappling with Oswald. So Oswald, talk to us about what do we have to do with grapple. So he's entangled.
So he gets in short, entangled means that he gets a -10 to every action that he takes.
Yep.
And that can go up in so you can he's technically entangled 1, which is -10. He'll get another entangled thing if I keep winning grapples, he'll get another entangled thing, and he can try to do as a full round action to try and swap it with an opposed strength. So right now we're in like a tug of war almost, where I'm one up on him. So we're in an opposed strength rolls.
Yep. So let's make that opposed strength roll, because he has in his mind he wants to get loose and tear your throat out.
Alrighty. So does my bond apply here?
Where is? Yes, it absolutely would, because the halfling's right there.
All right, yeah. So I am going to use that to try to get the edge up on this situation.
You glance up and you see the halfling. You and the halfling kind of make eye contact, and he almost smirks at you. You think he's just.
Oh yeah, and I can't handle that. So the Reikwald fury in my blood is coming out.
Give me that.
And
roll. Let's see. Yeah. Not so much. So, see if he fails worse. Oh, Jesus. So he rolls a 76. So you maintain the entangled. Yeah, you fail slightly less badly than he does.
But because I think I failed, it doesn't transfer, but he doesn't get an entanglement too.
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
it doesn't get any worse.
Yeah. So we're just entangled right now, or he's entangled and I'm perfectly fine.
Yes. So he sadly does not break loose. He's not going to be able to bite you or infect you with any sort of horrible diseases. The third dog has a dagger between his shoulder blades and is very interested in biting Mr. Bartleby. And he's actually gonna succeed in his biting of Mr. Bartleby. Do you have any armor on your legs? I don't think you would.
No, just boots, I guess. So
okay.
No.
So he turns as this, kind of, you stab him and just kind of shrieks, turns and gnashes his teeth and bites into your knee. and you will take 1 point of, well, 1 wound point. So the way wounds work, again, superficial damage, you're hurt, you're bleeding a little, it's not catastrophic. When you run out of wounds, you start getting into criticals. The other way to get a critical is if you roll basically a critical on the attack, which is doubles. So if you roll like a 22 or something. But you will take 1 wound as he turns and bites into your knee. We are for... Yeah, you are absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So, advantage. Anytime someone wins an opposed test, a melee test, for example, they're going to gain advantage over you, which gives them plus 10, right? So they gain advantage, or they win another test and do damage to you, they're going to do another plus 10. So it is cumulative and maintained throughout combat. It's like falling into old school, like half kind of quasi D&D shit there. So what that means is that the more you succeed against an enemy, the easier it is to hit them and the quicker they die. So Bartleby, you have 1 advantage. You will need to actually, in your next round, you will need to be successful to maintain that advantage and gain more. If he does damage to you, which he just did, so that would erase your... Is that correct, Rivers? It would erase your... Yeah.
So it goes from him having advantage to the dog having advantage on him.
Yes.
Yep.
So Pooch has 1 advantage. You, Oswald, would what at this point have?
Did he do an opposed roll to my grapple?
He did, and he lost, so you would have 1.
I would have 2 because I just won a strength off against him.
Yep. Okay.
So just real quick, where do we track wounds on the character sheet? I'm not seeing a section for it.
There should be a section right on the front page.
Middle right of the front page. Current, and I have to open a character sheet here to look at it, but you've got a spot basically where it...
It's between your characteristics and your skills.
Yep.
It's right next to your wealth.
On the right-hand side.
Okay.
Yep.
Does the current start at max?
Got it.
Yes, you should have entered because it has your toughness bonus but ×2, and then your strength bonus, and then it has your willpower bonus as well, I think. And if you have any hardy, which I don't think anybody has hardy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have my average and max calculated, which is the same, but I guess I didn't have the current filled in. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so 1 dog, Bartleby has stabbed, and basically there is Bartleby had advantage. The dog bit him and he has lost his advantage. Oswald has 2 advantage, and the other dog, who has hurt no one, has none and has not been hurt as well. Do we agree? I think that's what I wrote down. So that's what we'll do. Okay, so where were we? Who just stacked it?
I'm lost.
Yes,
Sure.
I am also lost.
Okay.
No pressure. So I'm thinking the attempts to stab. So Geschwind, the rest of you attempted to stab. Let's reset with Grimwald, just to get things at the top of a round with this new complicated rule in my face on my notepad.
I'm going to try and get the dog off of Oswald since they're rolling on the ground.
No, I'm winning a grapple against the dog, so help other people.
I don't know if I'd be able to tell that.
Probably not, because it's kind of like... But you may be able to actually score a quick hit on it as well, because he is holding it down pretty well. So it would be more or less considered helpless at this point. The entanglement is going to give you pretty much a solid shot there.
I think there's actually because he's not pinned, he's just entangled, which I think just incurs a penalty.
I believe that's correct.
Is there a reason why you skipped my turn?
Yes, because I got lost and you said you were lost, so you can wait. Yes, the advantage thing threw me for a loop because it's this whole new.
I didn't know if that if it replaced my turn or whatever else. I don't know.
No, I'm just trying to reset and get my head straight on what's going on there. All right. Okay. So, what are you going to do, Grimwald? Are you going to charge in and smash its head? Is that your plan?
Grab it by the scruff of the neck and plant a dagger in its ribs.
All right, give me that roll.
Any modifiers?
Yes. So you're gonna. I'm thinking at that point you're probably plus 20.
I am technically in melee with it, so it could, if it's the same one, I might have just lost that in translation. But he might be able to get a gang up bonus or something opposed to that, because this is technically still an opposed test, I think. Yeah,
it is.
Most combats are.
That's hard because he's not going to be able to oppose that test. He can't really move because the melee opposition is fighting
just
back.
Entangled. So the way it works, the
I
time
don't want to talk about the rules right now. Let's move it forward.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Well, you succeeded. Nice. So you come in and Jesus. So you have not done damage yet. You just had him entangled. So you do slide the dagger into his chest, and again, the sort of popping sound, and the blood begins to flow as you slice open this dog, and literally put him in a situation where he's about to get dead. Oswald, you see the Grimwald kind of falls down and inserts his dagger in this thing. What do you do at that moment?
Let's see. Dagger is a range of 1 or 0.
They're right. He's right there on top of it.
I think Oswald's just gonna try and stab at himself with a weapon of his own, which is a dagger.
Okay, so you kind of reach back and pull your dagger, and you'll attempt to kind of shank him. Okay.
Alrighty. Well, I will attempt to do just so. This is just with the advantage. Any other modifiers?
Oh, yep. And that's going to put him into critical land. So your hit location. Would you roll what the hell? Where the hell my hit location?
46, so 64, or does it inverse? I forget.
It inverses. So 64 is a body, which makes sense because you're laying right on top of him. So you are going to do a critical. So let's take a look at what that means.
I'd have to go look at the dagger damage because I didn't actually put it on my sheet because I'm bad. Let me go look. I think it's like strength bonus 2 plus strength bonus and then something else.
Yeah, strength bonus plus 2.
Yeah, and he's net 0 already from Grimwald's attack, so he's going to take a critical. Yes.
Yeah, so that's 5 damage if you needed to know, but.
So then you will take a roll on the table. And the critical rolls are done separately, right? And not just the inverse compared?
Yes. I think there's actually like a table somewhere there.
No, I'm looking at it. So you want to make a roll?
What is it out of? Like a 1 or 1d10? Or?
Yeah, it's a D100.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's a full D100. I forgot.
And Jim, yes.
72.
Question. 72. So basically, the creature's back turns to white pain as you tear this muscle wide open with your dagger, and it is just howling and rolling around in absolute agony, still alive but bleeding like crazy, and not going to be much of a threat to you for much longer.
Alrighty.
You stay. Good. Do you try to kind of stay there? Do you try to move off the dog?
Oh no, I'm gonna stay where I am because I'm still
shanking it.
Technically grappled, so I'm still gonna keep going. I've got it by like some scruff or something where it can't bite me, and I'm just stab.
Ooh, I love this. We're like actually getting rules advice on chat. Thank you. That's helpful. Love it. Okay, so Bartleby. Sorry to have reset on you, but it's all you. What do you do? So you've withdrawn your dagger from this thing's back. What do you do?
Yep. I'll stab at it again. It doesn't look like it's running away.
Do you give it any stevedore advice before you? Time to die, Fluffy.
No, not this time. This is just a stab. All right. So what do I need to do for the advantage or disadvantage, I guess?
So at this point, it's just net 0 because it robbed you of your advantage. So it's just a
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get used to the system at some point.
Oh,
no! Oh, that's a shame. So you draw your dagger back to stab him again. And you're leaning forward as this thing's lunging at you. You sort of instinctively stumble backward. I'm going to give you the choice. Do you fall and hurt yourself but retain your weapon? Or do you stumble forward and retain the ability to kind of move around, no wounds, but you lose your weapon? You pick.
He'll lose the weapon.
Okay. So leaning, kind of stumbling, trying to dodge out of the way as this thing's kind of biting at you. You sort of lurch forward and hit your knee on some kind of root or whatnot, and you drop your dagger to the ground, pretty much right between this thing's legs as its hot breath is in your face. You're going to be fist fighting with the dog.
Okay.
And Corben, what do you do?
I'm going to stab that dog again, or try to.
Okay. He's like PetSmart's worst nightmare.
Pete is going to call.
Oh.
So at this point, the dog is a bit demoralized because this is as it's turning and trying to avoid being attacked, and you're missing it, and you're swinging in its face. Thankfully, it's a dog, right? So it has the sense to not get its face cut off, but you do not hit it, sadly. Geschwind.
Seeing you miss, I'm gonna try again as well.
Swinging like a magical dwarven axe or something that you can just sort of.
My trusty little tiny dagger. Damn it!
Just picture all of you guys in leather jackets, just like shanking these dogs.
Not even that. Not even that. I have some like traveling clothes. we need to go find like a dead guard somewhere and just rob him of his pointy stick.
Yes. So sadly, you now. So remind me, Geschwind and Corben are attacking the same one. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So this thing is flailing around and biting and just kind of lunging forward and shrinking back as you continue to swing your weapons at it. You've almost got it encircled. It's almost the reverse of being encircled by a wolf pack. It's encircled by a PC pack, and it's not gaining much traction. So bad guys. So let's see. Sadly, the one that it would be most interested in biting the living hell out of Grimwald has been stabbed and is grappled and been stabbed some more and is not doing particularly well. In his situation, he's not able to even get a bite in, not even a prayer of it. Why am I rolling? 19. So, Corben, the beast does in fact bite you on your right arm, turning and snaring your right arm with its I'm assuming that's what you're kind of stabbing forward, snaring your right arm in its jowls, and doing a full 2 wounds, unless you are wearing any armor, in which case you would reduce those wounds.
I am not.
Okay.
I am going to scream like it's ripping my guts out.
As it bites down, it shakes its head back and forth, and you shriek in horror. I would love to have Unter come storming in right about now, but he's not going to. And Jesus, combat will take like 9 years. So the final dog does not make his blow either, sort of jumping in and attacking. I don't even need your opposed roll. So next rule lesson, opposed roll. So in a melee, each of these attacks, there's an inverse roll. So if, for example, the dog is biting at you, you can actually oppose that attack with either a dodge or something like that. In some cases, you can use intimidate or whatever. So just remind me, as I'm getting used to the system, that melee is opposed, ranged are not, representing you can't really do much if someone's just going to shoot at you. So as we start the new round with Grimwald, what do you do?
Trying to finish that dog.
Okay. Give me that finish that dog roll.
Finish the dog roll.
At this point, so Grimwald, you attack last year, you would have 1 advantage. So you got a plus 10 bonus there to hit.
Nope.
Give me a D10 roll, and if you roll, let's say, think about it, 2 or below, you may stab Oswald.
Oh man!
Damn it!
God, man! You're the best.
So coming in there, just right through the hand as he's holding this dog down and stabbing it, and you stab him in the hand, doing your let's say half damage for that fumble. I'm not trying to be too cruel here.
I'm perfectly fine with that. That's what a fumbling failure is for, you know. Ow. Oswald doesn't say much at the moment, but he doesn't look too happy because you have dog juice all over that blade that is now all in the open wound of my hand.
Dog juice? Yes.
Hey man, you described them as super mangy, so I was like, oh god, they're like Nurgle zombie dogs. This is exactly what we need.
Miller is my hero, by the way. Yes. So through your hand, and there is an ups table that we could use. We'll go with extemporaneous judgment.
Stabby damage.
Stabby damage.
Just
this
I judge you extra hard.
Chat about later. Yeah, exactly. So you stab through his hand slightly into the dog. The dog does kind of at least whimper, but he'll be all right. It's just that little spot right there that gets the cut. It
was itching, so it was okay.
Exactly right. Okay, so Oswald, just as you get stabbed through the hand, what are you gonna do there?
I am going to try and get rid of this dog the best way I know how, stabbing furiously.
Do it.
Alrighty, so this is that. Should be that.
Nice. Well done. R. Miller knew. I just want to shout out, man, you're the best. He's like our personal rules companion, and it's so great.
Oh, yeah. I love he should be promoted. He should be promoted already.
Yes. I requested you as a friend, bro. So, success level 4. What's the damage on the dagger? So you've got success level 4. Is it plus strength bonus? Is that right?
2 plus strength bonus and successes, I guess.
So what's that, Oswald? What's your strength bonus?
Oh, my strength bonus is 3.
This dog is got to be seriously done. So he's established 1 critical wound. What's the second critical wound?
It has some additive to it. I'd have to go look. But it's in total, my damage is 9, I think, because it'd be 2 plus 3 plus 4 for success level.
Ugh. What was your hit roll? It was 20, so 2... Oh, nice. So you kind of rear up just as you get stabbed in the hand. You sort of, in pain, and then just stab it right through the head. And I'm going to say, now you roll separately for critical, right? Is that right? Or do you use the inverse still?
Let me look.
Oh, nice.
That's stuff I don't know off the top of my head.
I'm so trolling the post in the Discord right now. Yep. Straight roll on the table. So give me a roll. Give me the D100 roll.
Alrighty. I don't know if it has an additive pool, but there, he's probably dead.
Oh, damn. So the sheer fury, as you basically stab into this thing's kind of just under its chin and up into its brain, carving the majority of its throat wide open, and its head just kind of leans back and air escaping from its windpipe. It definitely is going to die. The result there is really sort of severed head, but you don't have time for that with a dagger. Chop.
That would take way too long.
One dog
way
dead.
Too long.
You guys are good. Moving on to Bartleby. So Bartleby, you have your arch nemesis, the dog. What do you do?
Bartleby will take a swing.
Do it.
All right. Is that just a melee brawling attack?
Yeah, so
I don't know how
it will be an opposed attack. So I will basically roll the dog's attack, and you'll roll your attack. The dog did 87, which sucks bad for the dog. And you actually... So a miss is a miss, Rivers, or no? Yes.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Yes. No, a miss is a miss. His opposed roll was worse, but that doesn't change it into a success, does it? I don't think. Like after midnight, my rules brain shut off, but I don't think that's true. So swatting at the dog yet again, it kind of dodges out of the way of your attack, and you sort of fumble forward, trying to, as you scoop your dagger up from betwixt its legs. At least you are now armed. Moving on to Corben.
So is it still got me by the arm? Because I would imagine that would be the arm with the dagger.
It doesn't. Well, no, it would have bitten you and sort of shook its head. It's not going to be hanging on to you. Sort of shook its head, did its damage, and let go.
Try to get away from it and just keep swiping the dagger back and forth in front of me to keep it at bay.
Okay, so you're just trying to sort of distract it and intimidate it.
Pretty much.
Give me an intimidation roll real quick.
Yes, because I am very intimidating. Ooh.
Nice. Critical hit.
Surprised myself.
A critical hit there. So you basically puff up and start yelling and swinging this dagger, and you scare the dog. You scare the shit out of the dog. And let's just make sure. So he's going to roll like 87. So yeah, the dog literally buys it lock, stock, and barrel and just kind of backs off. Its hackles turn up, glancing around and seeing what's going on with its friend. It actually hauls ass to live to fight another day. It's done with you, halfling. It's done with you. And so with that, the just conscious of time, the remaining dog, who is wounded and bleeding, seeing its friend run, its pack mate down, chooses to fight again another day as well, and sort of slowly kind of saunters off into the woods after making its break from combat, because Jim said he has to go. So
I'm not the only one.
No, I know, me too. I'll do that with I will do that with dogs. Don't count on that for the main bad guy. Hey guys, it's getting late. I can't continue the fight. I gotta go. All right, so fantastic. This was a good experiment. I think we'll all get used to the system. Does everyone agree? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So a little different. I'm falling into Call of Cthulhu mode when I roll my D100s. I'm like, God, what the fuck's even going on here? R. Miller Noob, thank you, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yep.
Very cool. For those of you who are still watching the stream, that's awesome too, for kind of sticking around while we fumble through the rules. We'll do this again in a month. We'll post the session up edited session up on YouTube. I'm going to edit out all of our fumbles with the rules so it looks like we're awesome.
Yeah. Man, these guys are great.
Yeah. Holy shit.
All right. Thanks, guys. It was fun. Thanks, Jason, for DMing. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Let's do it again. So thanks to you guys out there on the internet. Check us out. Subscribe, do that whole thing, and we'll see you next time. Yeah, point at the